the grill, I have got deer ribs that are cut up, and then I have got a rack of pork ribs that I thawed out, and then we got some corn on the cob out of the freezer. I've got fresh corn on the cob down there, but it ain't quite filled out. I cooked about 4 ears last night. It wasn't quite ready, so I wanted to wait and light this on camera because I ain't in a hurry to eat. There ain't nobody here but me and Brody, so I may be in and out checking on him. I may have to leave the camera. So this is the second batch of homemade charcoal. I cooked this batch this week. And it don't take a lot to cook. I've still got leftover charcoal from last week. It'll turn your fingers all black. I'm gonna get me one of them chimney little things that I can set over here on my fish cooker and put it in there and light it with it and then pour it in there. Keep from having to buy this all the time, but I got a little bit left and I hadn't bought one of them things. I thought about building one, and I'm still may build one. I had one I built one time and I left it out, let the bottom rust out of it. I built it out of my wife had got a watering vase for Mother's Day one year that they poked holes in the bottom of it and planted flowers in it. It was cool, but after the winter and all the flowers died, well then the vase was the watering, what do you call it? I can't even think of what you call it. You know what I'm talking about. It's jugs with a spigot on there. Water can, anyways, I guess what I call it. And it was useless, so I pulled the spigot off and poked a whole bunch of holes in the bottom of it, and you could use it for that. It worked good, but I left it out and let it run. Woo! Look at it flame up out here. I should have went shaved. I done got to this. I can't stand my beard this long, but I ain't been in there and thought about it. It itches like crazy. It drives me nuts. It done got to that length that them boys like this, grow them too. I don't like it. Don't look cool. Alright, so let me cut. Oh, Lord, I should have poured that off. Oh, look at him. I messed up. Right there, live on camera. Get that all off there. Get everything all back to square one. So I need to drain all that blood out of there. I wanted to season them right here. Is what I wanted to do. Now this is deer ribs. Usually get a pocket knife. I can do a little more whittling with it. I like to cut all this tallow junk off because it ain't fit to eat. If y'all have cooked deer ribs, you know what I'm talking about. It'll get chalky tasting up in your mouth. And I used to not even save these, and then I got back to saving them again. And the deal is with them, it'll about melt out of there if you grill them like this and cook it hot. And I don't never get every bit of it out. I just get a lot of it out. And I'm sure there's a better way of doing things, probably than the way I'm going about it. One problem I got here is I'm contending with the flies over my food, so I'm in quite a hurry. I do not like flies on my meat I'm cooking. See them swarming around. I hate flies. I'd rather it be wintertime and be out here cold. Alright, so picking and grilling. Yeah, Roscoe's over there getting at it. He knows when we start cooking, he fixing to eat. And normally, y'all, I would try to do a little better job of peeling some of this junk off. I really would, but it stuck to my finger, Roscoe. And I'll season them some more once I get them on the grill over here. This picking and grilling is good stuff, y'all. I really like it. I need to go buy some of the other. Alright, I'm fixing to start laying this on there right quick. Let me back up what I'll do where y'all can see a little of everything going on. It don't take that charcoal neither, y'all, long to be right. I mean, look at the flies swarming around here. Man, that is one of the things I do not like about summertime here in Mississippi. Now these are pork ribs. You ain't got to worry about all that fat stuff on these, and this is wild pork ribs. There ain't as much meat on them as there is on, you know, farm raised. Oh yeah. I'm gonna move them back over the side. I gotta throw all that away. And y'all, this corn come out of the freezer right here. You see how I had cut the ends off? It has got to be cooked, is why I went ahead and got it. Brody loves corn on the cob, and I need to open that up and open that up some more. All right. Move this away from the. So give me a second to go in there at night and wash this mess off my hands. Look at him, Roscoe. Come here. You want that bite? Let me go wash my hands, y'all. Look at this table right here. That's a small portion of what I've picked this week too. That ain't near about all of it. I need to wash my knife. And I need to bring a paper towel back. Y'all, anytime you're using these wood cutting boards, ever, there it goes. especially with the flies like this. Every now and then you gotta come by and disinfect it, cause that blood and meat and junk. Alright, let me put all this back up. Oh, we're not gonna get too elaborate. Let me let this down. I had that up when I'm cooking so I can. Well, I can see more better. Now, where is my, right here. I hope it's charged up. It's on 53%. I didn't think about plugging it up till about dinner today. And then I had to plug my phone up. Takes me a minute to get all of my ducks in a row right here, y'all. Old Roscoe is still over there wandering around. Well, sir. I turned the live chat off. I got it back up. Good to see all of you tonight. I'll be honest with y'all, I've never had a problem tasting lighter fluid. I've been cooking with it all my life. Never been a problem. I think a lot of that gets in people's minds more than it's actually a fact. But I have used a match-like charcoal, but no more than I put on there. I don't worry about it. It burns up, flames up, and it burns very quickly. The lighter fluid can't burn in there long enough to hurt nothing. So anyway, lot going on. We've been up to a whole lot for the last week. I've been working on knives. I have made several knives. This one, I just dyed it, and now the dye is coming off on the handle. I may have to re-sand this one. And you see I got dye all over my fingers. So I made two today. Well, I had the blades this morning, so I put handles on two knives. And this one's Bodok. Beautiful knife. And then I made this sheath. So the guy I made it for, I had got skeptical of it to begin with, and Warren and I had messaged me several times. Well, today after I got it made and messaged him, he was unavailable. It come up and said he's left the chat and all. I think when he found out how much it was, he didn't want it no more, so. Jennifer Ocean Homestead. It's Justin Peden at Gmail. JustinPeden gmail.com. And do it like this. Oh, Lord, there's such a delay. There you go. Copy that. Touch it. Copy. Paste. Copy paste is your best friend. All right, all right. Now I gotta get that going. Yes, sir, y'all know I had a birthday this week, as well as did Mr. Larry Alexander. And y'all, Mr. Larry sent me another fishing pocket knife. I got another case pocket knife, fishing knife. I love these little fishing knives, man. These things are awesome. So thank you, Mr. Larry. That was what was in the box for those of you that didn't know. Miss Mary sent me a big care package full of stuff last Saturday. I filmed it, and I lost the video. Finally found the video yesterday. I know she's going to be mad as fire because she wanted me to film opening all this jelly and stuff. She made a wonderful care package. Me and Brody got some nice stuff from Miss Mary. And I lost the video. I didn't have the heart to write her and tell her I lost the video. I found it. I was like, I know I didn't delete it. It got shoved some way over into some files on my computer, and I knew I had deleted it off my phone because I have to keep stuff. I can't keep a lot of pictures or anything on my phone because it just clogs it up. I can't film. I'll be filming, it'll be like, okay, you're out of storage, so I have to keep everything off the phone. So I had put it on the computer. I knew I hadn't deleted it from there, not on purpose anyway, but it somehow got into another location, and I found it yesterday. So I'll try to get that into a video maybe in the morning or something for her. Stuff getting on my... John McGraw asked, how is the hog trap going? The hogs have not been back. My dad went and bush hogged that stuff they were eating, and they ain't been back. So, and that's what happened the last time that I went to try to trap them. They were in there eating the corn, and they had cleaned it up and got the last of it. So, after he bush hogged all that, they've not come back because what they were eating is gone now. So, we are about to get ready to plant pumpkins. In fact, this morning I got on HossTools.com and ordered some giant pumpkins. And I just ordered some Deals Atlantic Giant and then some Big Macs. I did not order the championship grown, $10 a pack of seeds pumpkins. So they'll be in sometime next week. So hopefully end of sometime next week we're going to be planting pumpkins. I always plant them end of June. So around 4th of July, you plant your pumpkins, and they'll be ready before Halloween over in the fall. Really, I like for mine to be ready way before Halloween because we start decorating September for fall. I mean, you're sick of summer. By middle of September, you ready to put the hay bales on the front porch and set pumpkins and put a flannel shirt on. I have been had enough of summer by then. I'll be honest with you, I already had enough of summer this year already. I'm over summer already. It can get cold tomorrow and snow for all I care. I do want to finish getting my garden in. I got a pile of squash, zucchinis, starting to get tomatoes, pile of cucumbers. And while we sitting here, I'm going to show y'all something. This is my ash bucket, and I keep scraps and whatnot in it. So, and that's a can of salt out of my, I don't know. I know y'all, some of y'all seen that. Joey Martin sent that to me. So I got one of these, I don't know if it's a potato peeler or what this is, but anyway, that is the way to do that now. So I know, or I say I know, I should know, but I probably don't know. I have got to get on a diet. I have been gaining weight. So, and me and my wife both are having, you know, I turned 43 this week. Time to start having no medical issues, I reckon. Well, that plastic part's got to come off of there. Anyway, a little bit, oh, that's the wrong one. Hang on. I bet it's good with that eat 'em raw on there. I was looking for the salt. I ain't got the salt. Now we good. Get the salt over here. Healthy snack, what I'm driving at. I got to get rid of some of this weight. It ain't good for me, y'all. Mark, we got fans. I hate to hear a fan run. I swear, my wife's got one sitting there, and it'd drive y'all. And I turn it on, get to blowing. You hear that air? You wouldn't like it, not one bit. I can't stand a fan blowing on me, making racket. I know I'm curious. Can't help it. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I ain't seen a fan help these flies. Cause my wife loves a fan. They don't slow them down none. Fishing with Mike. He's in Kentucky working tornado damage. Any advice on catching bowfin? Are you sure there's bowfin there? Like the Cumberland River and them cold rivers, they ain't no bowfin in them. Bowfin don't like cold water. Now, certain rivers in Kentucky they are in, so if you know they in there, cut bait's number one. You can tight line like catfish with cut bait, or you can put it on a cork. Big minnows. But cut bait is king, so. Jennifer, you got me beat by a few years. But anyway, thank y'all for the happy birthdays. I see a lot of folks saying happy birthday. Yeah, Larry, I've that 10 more years, I'm sure. If I keep going at the rate I'm going, I'll be fell apart. Yeah, I'm gonna have my salt, Jeffrey. I can't go without the salt. But at least it ain't ice cream right now. I did put some in there in vinegar, cut it up, and we're trying to grill everything, but now I ain't gonna lie, last night me and Lisa and Brody fried deer meat. We've ate deer meat every night since Michelle's been gone, so those of you that don't know, Michelle has been gone all week to Branson. She's up there now fighting high blood pressure. Probably stressed out more than anything. Me and her don't do vacations well. She thinks she does. So, coffee smoke. I've never heard of that. Oh, Rodney, I done soaked a couple of shirts today. So, first thing happened this week. It rained Tuesday, something like that. I'm working on knives. So y'all knew that I patina these knife blades. I mean, they don't naturally come that dark. I put that patina on there. So I force it. I've got a little small vat made out of 4-inch square tubing, about, just about as long as that knife is tall. And I put vinegar and water in it. Put it on a fish cooker and heat it up. I'll let it come to a boil, but it don't have to come to a boil. It just has to get hot and sit there hot for a little while. And as it is sitting there hot, it'll soak that and force that blade to turn dark. Now you can rub that off and get it back to a shiny after that. So it don't just stay on there. But it started raining. I was out here slopping around fooling with chickens, putting stuff up, so I put my rubber boots on. Normally I'm barefooted out there. I've been barefooted all day. But the other day it was pouring down rain and I'd put my rubber boots on. My foot slipped and that boot caught the edge of that fish cooker and dumped that hot vat of liquid from my leg right here all the way down to my calf into my boot. I got 2nd-degree burns on the back of my calf back here, so should have done a video on aloe vera plant this week. Nursing that all week, so you haven't got the stickers over there. So I have not went and cut poles for the teepee. I wanted to finish that this week. My plan was to finish it, so I didn't get that done. I've had a bunch of other stuff to do.
Dad.
What?
What you doing?
I'm eating a cucumber.
Cucumber.
What are you doing? What you after in there? Don't spill that. I done turned him on to cranberry juice. He's over there with a cranberry juice jug turned up like this. Jeffrey Gray, I may need some more salt. Oh, Lord. At least it ain't salt on French fries or salt on potato chips or something. I mean, it's salt on a cucumber. Come on, cut me some slack here. But these cucumbers right here, y'all, this is the Orient Express cucumber. Best cucumber for eating like this that they are. The next thing with this cucumber, when you forget and leave one that you didn't see and didn't get it picked in time and it gets about that big around and about that long, you can cut it up, slice it, and fry it, and it is good. Well, hell, you want that one? You want your own, don't you? Well, go get one. Hey, where you going? Look right there. So anyway.
Daddy, can you slice it for me?
No, I'm not slicing it.
I mean, can you?
I'll peel it.
Okay, peel it.
So y'all, yeah, talking about dry. It's dry here again. Now we got a big rain, like 2 days in a row. We got about 2.5 inches of rain this week. So we okay now, but it ain't rained no more since then. A batter for fried okra. We just flour stuff. I usually mix Tony's and salt in there to. What are you doing? Are you gonna eat? You ain't gonna eat the whole thing, are you?
Of course I am.
Huh?
Of course I am.
Somebody's going to take this bucket to the compost pile
Where is it?
down yonder where we shook. You know when we shook corn.
Yeah.
There. Now eat it off in. I didn't give him no salt for his. Now his is healthy. Oh,
Salt?
salt.
Yeah.
You need salt. Hold it over the bucket. There you go. Now, oh, won't you go sit down in that chair over yonder and eat it? They can see you sitting over there. Huckleberry said done got any shorts. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. Somebody said, hot Mississippi, you don't ever wear shorts? No. You won't ever catch me dead in a pair of shorts. I ain't wearing no short sleeve breeches. Mm-mm. No, sir. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. If that's your thing, have at it. I don't do short sleeve breeches. I'm different than everybody. I done found that out. I don't like most things that other people's crazy about. Oh yeah, I'm like So no, I don't be wearing no short sleeve breeches. Mark, you want this knife? I'll sell you this one right here. I've got it sold. I mean, I got some other people that want some knives. This Bodoc handle, probably got to sell it. Email me, Mark, and $150 for that knife right there. If you want it. I'm gonna try to sell some more. I've got about 4 more that I have got to make. I don't take orders. I've been very adamant. I don't take orders, and the reason is not that I don't want to make everybody a knife. It's that when I take orders, I get so many that it gets overwhelming, and it sucks the desire to make them. So go sit down over there and eat that. Don't come over here and bring it to me. I don't want it.
I want that peeled.
Don't worry about that. Eat the part I peeled up there.
Or salt.
There. His mama's gone this week. Me and him, we bacheloring. We had Lissy last night. She left, so. Yeah, Huckleberry, I can't wear shorts in the woods, and I'm in and out of the woods a lot. I hadn't been in the woods this week. I got burnt, and the reason I got burnt so bad is because I had them blooming rubber boots on. If I'd have been barefooted, I could have pulled my breeches legs out away from it. It wouldn't have burnt that bad, but where that boot was wrapped tight around my calf and my leg, it burned it good there. Where it initially poured onto my pants, I grabbed and jerked my breeches leg out. I just barely got burnt there. So anyway, Brian, how are you tonight? So anyway, long story short, I've got a burn on my leg, so I hadn't been out cutting my poles for my TP. I wanted to finish it, so I've worked on knives all week. I want to make some knives. I just don't want to get a bunch of orders to where it's overwhelming, and I'm like, you know, I mean, it takes the fun out of making them. So I'm going to make a few more, and then I'm going to have to get working on pottery for a little while, and then I'll make a few more. So as I know these people that's, you know, persistently ask about them, as I make one, generally what I do is message them as like, hey, I got this knife. You want it? And they usually like, yeah. I don't know. The orders deal, I mean, orders can be good. One thing though is you get a bunch. And last time I took orders, I'd make somebody a knife that they ordered, and then when I'd contact them, I know 4 or 5 of them. It was like, oh, I ain't got the money, and that was when they was $100. I said I would never make no more for $100 because it cost me money to make them.
I don't want that.
But throw it in that bucket. I don't want it either. We got plenty of them.
You want it?
Huh?
Do you really?
Roscoe don't want that.
Well, Roscoe won't want that.
So anyway, where you finna go with your truck?
Going to nowhere?
Going where?
To nowhere?
To the Lord.
To the north.
To the north.
North, south.
North, south. Oh. You like Kanye's boy, oh, east, west?
Where are we going to west?
Yeah, Mike, when you start taking orders, it gets to where it just sucks the fun out of it. It gets overwhelming for me. And then I lose people's now, forget who wanted what, and you lose stuff. I don't know, it gets... I'd rather make them as I want to and make what I want to and then be like, hey, y'all, you want this? It's just easier for me that way. You got a heat wave going on there in Pennsylvania. It is... Let's see what... I don't even know how hot it is right now. I'm curious. I have got a thermometer over here. Right now, in the shade, at 7:30, we sitting on almost 90 degrees, upper 80s, so it ain't that bad today. Fairly pleasant. My shirt is not stuck to me. I didn't know exactly, whoa, we done got all out of kilter here. I didn't know exactly how hot it was. I knew I could tell. I don't, I'm trying to read and think and everything else. I ain't good at it. Y'all figured that out. I get to look at this and I'm like, zoop. So I try to keep up with some comments, but anyway, it's been warm here. It ain't been miserable for this week because we had the rain, and a lot of times after a rain, it'll get so muggy, sticky. It hasn't this week. Now it's sticky like out here, but it ain't like it's 80-something degrees cool down. So I have spent the whole day today in that shade working on these knives. I ain't been out in the sun. Now, Brody got up bright and early this morning, went riding around in his little four-wheeler picking blueberries, and I can't keep up with where he's at, what he's doing. I don't know where he went, but he'll get content playing with his army men or something for a little while. So right now, since it's just me and him, I have to kind of stop and check on him and know where he's at, what he's into, but fortunately for us, we're back off the road far enough, and it ain't really a problem. If somebody drives up our driveway, well, Roscoe and the other dog lets me know. So ain't too bad. '96 in southern Indiana. It is warm up there. '89 in southeast Missouri. We must moisture off the Gulf or something. With the storms blowing there in, must be cooling. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't watch the weather like I used to. When I was doing metal roofing and I depended on the weather for my job, I kept up with it daily. I knew every day what the weather was going to do. Now, if it rains tomorrow, if it don't, I could care less. I mean, it affects my fishing some, but me and Brody went fishing the other day. He just decided he wanted to go fishing. We had went to town. I didn't realize it was a holiday. We went to Ship Knives and couldn't do that. So we went to that was Wednesday. We went to the feed mill, gonna get feed. Well, they was closed because they closed at dinner on Wednesdays. So we went and eat us an ice cream cone and a hamburger, come home and went fishing. Well, it had rained Monday and part of Tuesday. Monday or Tuesday, well, it rained Tuesday night. I don't remember. And I think it rained Monday is when we got all that rain. So the water was high down there. It wasn't really high, but it was up from what it was. It rose, and it was bad, muddy, and swift, so nothing but catfish was really biting. We filmed a video, had a good time, but wasn't real successful. So I'm thinking me and Brody may get up in the morning and go back down there and lay out. I've got some cut bait in the freezer and some deer liver. I'm thinking about laying some of that out and going down there and tight lining for some catfish, see if we can catch something. I could go early in the morning and get some live bait if I wanted to, but just the plastic baits and bowfin not gonna bite for a day or two till that water kind of levels out. Once it slows back down and gets level, then the bowfin will go back to biting. I went one day, tried to catch some bowfin back at another pot last week, and I did not have no luck. Broke my fishing pole. I mean, everything could go wrong went wrong, but one thing is that beaver dam down there don't allow fish to come upstream, so they wouldn't no fish in that area to amount to anything because of that. So beaver dam good, beaver dam bad, depending on what you're doing and your purpose for having it there. So anyway, what y'all want to talk about tonight? TP projects on hold till I get poles cut. Probably gonna cut sweet gum poles, I think. I thought about doing the bamboo, but I gotta go get bamboo. Bamboo's not gonna be a traditional, I don't know. I wanna do wood poles, I think. And I think I'm gonna do sweet gum poles. I think they'll last a lot longer if I peel them and oil them. So I got to do that. I'm waiting till my leg somewhat heals before I go in the woods and go to fooling with all that. Hadn't had no good luck trapping. Ain't had a lot of success fishing, but we kind of did target the wrong thing. We found some mushrooms. So the next thing will be the muzzle loader. Hagen ribs is probably burning up, if you want to know the truth. The next thing is a muzzle loader. I've been going to get it out and shoot it. My problem, the reason I hadn't is I've had Brody all week. Now, yesterday I had to go to West Point and pick up some clay and other stuff, so I didn't have him yesterday, but I wasn't here either, so I'm kind of hesitant on going down there and shooting the muzzle loader with Brody with me because of the racket, and you know, I mean, I've got hearing protection for me, but with him it's a little different. So that has been part of the reason I hadn't fooled with the muzzle loader. Michelle will be home sometime tomorrow, and I'm itching to shoot it. I really want to know, is it going to do what I want to do? Because I really want to hunt with it this year. And if not, I'm going to have to acquire one or build one or do something. Next thing is I did get in a deer camp this week. Me and my dad joined a deer club that is closer than the one we were in 4 or 5 years ago when we were in one. Also, it is $500 cheaper than the one I was trying to get back in. Also has about 1,000 more acres of land. I know this one's got at least like 3,000 plus acres I'm in. Still cost $1,000 a year, but for me to have a place to go hunt that I ain't got to compete with other people over a place to hunt is worth a lot. Especially when you want to film hunting videos. So being able to set up and guarantee, hey, I'm going to see some deer in a spot, I can harvest a couple of those with a muzzleloader fairly easy. Possibly do some more bow hunting. I've got another spot locked down that I can bow hunt a little bit closer to here, so I may have 2 different places to bow hunt. So we're going to have to do some studying. Hopefully this year, hunting season, is a whole lot better than last year, which last year I didn't have any good places set up to hunt. I got frustrated with it. I didn't do a lot of hunting. So, yeah, look forward. Hopefully there'll be a lot more deer hunting videos. I really hadn't done any die-hard deer hunting videos since I have had this channel. I have filmed a little bit of hunting, but I have not been like, you know, we deer hunt. So here's the next thing. I had a company reach out to me and say, hey, we have a blind. And this is really what spawned the hey, I need to get in a deer club. This company said, hey, we got these see-through blinds. They're not the 360 blind, but it's like whatever you can see out of 3 sides of it. And it was like, we want to send you a blind and a hunting suit to do a video on it. And I'm like, okay, and it looks a lot like the Ameristep blind I had, but my Ameristep blind, I popped a hole in it, which I've still got it. But you couldn't see out. And the biggest problem I have with my Ameristep blind is all the Velcro. You bow hunting with a rifle, I ain't scared to shoot a hole in the side of the thing if I have to, you know, for a deer. But with an arrow, you ain't gonna do shoot through whatever. Not with a traditional bow. Now, if you got a show enough compound, you probably shoot through that net and it not be a big problem, but you don't really want to do that. So if you pull all it down. Anyway, long story short, I told him, yeah, I want you to send me this blind. So I've got to do a video on this blind that they're sending me. Don't know nothing about it yet, hadn't got it yet. So whenever I was reaching out, when they reached out to me, I was like, you know what, I need to check on that deer camp. One of my buddies had told me about the deer camp, so I contacted him. I was like, hey, do you know if they're going to take the members? He's like, here's this guy's number. He said, I think they are going to take members. Call and talk to him. So I did, and they was like, yep, we'd love to have you. So got a place to deer hunt. I'm excited about it. Here's the bonus part of it. I asked Lissy. She hunted with me the last time we was in a deer camp about 5 years ago. She killed a good buck there. That's the last year she's hunted at all. My daddy bought her a brand new 270 short mag rifle. I don't even remember the name. Some foreign made, I think a Swiss made rifle. I can't remember. Nice rifle. And gave it to her because he was excited about her hunting. Well, she ain't hunted since. So I asked her that. I was like, look, we got a deer club. Are you going to hunt? She was like, yeah, I want to hunt. So we'll have some video of Lissy hunting, hopefully. So I'm excited about deer season now coming up this year, which is going to produce more preparation for hunting season toward the end of the summer. Now, I still want to do a good bit of fishing. There's a lot of fishing I want to do that I hadn't even done yet. It's done got hot, though. Tough to do, so. You know, I don't know if there'll be places over there to camp. I'm excited to go check out this property and see what is there. If there's places to camp, possibly put the TP up over there at times. You know, I don't know, may take the camper and park it, but it's not that far away. It's like a 30-minute drive from my house. So really no need to stay unless you're just wanting to, which I like to do at times. But we'll get to be doing more archery shooting and muzzleloader shooting, preparation to get everything fine-tuned in and set up. Maybe do a video on how I set up on new property to hunt, and we'll see if it's successful. Now, for me to sit here and tell you like I'm an expert and I'm going to show you how to do this, I don't claim that. I'm not going to try to. I do have a way that I think works, that I like to do it. So I will show it that way and be like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is how I do it. That don't mean that, hey, everybody needs to do like I do. Sometimes people get confused that you're trying to show, you know, everybody should do it this way. There's always 10 different ways to do things. So anyway, I'm excited about hunting season coming up this year. Jeffrey asked what I did to my leg. I burned it making knives. I poured the liquid I patina my knife blades. I poured that onto my leg. Burned my leg. Got 2nd-degree burns on it. No, it ain't a ticker. It's something else my daddy come up with, Dave. I don't know exactly what this rifle is. A 270 short mag. I think he put a Trijicon scope on it, best I remember, and it has got a hair trigger on it. It's a nice rifle, but it's not a ticker. I don't think, anyway. I had to get it out. Look, I ain't had the thing out in about 3 years. My dad got it, wanted to work up some loads for it 2 years ago, and I let him take it over there and shoot it some, and then he give it back to me. So I will probably have to work up some loads. Now, y'all, my dad is an expert at reloading and fine-tuning a rifle. My daddy's thought process on zeroing a rifle is to work up the loads for it over a period of time, seeing what the rifle likes, and then he'll shoot it today, prop it in the corner. Shoot it tomorrow, prop it in the corner. Shoot it the 3rd day, prop it in the corner, and say, okay, it's hitting here, I need to move it over here. See what I'm saying? He knows what that cold barrel shot. He zeroes them on a cold barrel shot. So that's his way. I mean, he loves it. But reloading is expensive, but I don't film a lot of that because you have to be careful filming that kind of stuff for 2 reasons. Number one, YouTube don't like it. Number 2, a lot of people watching, seeing what all you got, going, I'm coming after that, when you go to sleep. So, which we built a new building, and it's locked up. You'd have to have a chainsaw to get in there now to it, which ain't a problem for a criminal, you know what I mean? Yeah, Jeffrey, this blistered last night. The biggest, worst spot popped in the night during my sleep. I had pajama breeches on, and it soaked the spot on them. Nasty. I've been doctoring it with aloe vera and plantain. I've been putting plantain salve on it. It has not burned. It has not hurt. It ain't been painful. I'm just trying to take it easy and not make a mess out of it and let it get infected. So Dave, no, my daddy is a firm believer that your rifle is only as good as the optics you put on it. Trijicon, Leupold, and he, I think now, has started using some Night Force. We had some Nikons. I love Nikon for small rifles. But we proved that a Nikon would not hold up on a 4570. And I had one on the Buffalo Classic. I had the Nikon Pro Staff, Pro something. Nice, big, about a $600 scope. It would not stay zeroed on the 4570. We had one on the Thompson Center 4570. This one was on the Buffalo Classic. Big, heavy gun, don't kick as bad. Little Thompson Center went immediately back to iron sights on it. You couldn't keep it zeroed, so we got away from those, and they're good. Like my little 17 HMR, I got a Nikon on there. I ain't never had to move. So it's not that they're bad. That a lot of heavy recoil and abuse, and us throwing them in truck seats, laying them in boats, hauling them in buggies, all of that stuff. Yeah. And the next thing Daddy said, you need a scope that you can see in low light situations. He said if when it gets dark, right about the time that all the deer move, and you having to strain to look through your scope to see what's out there, you might as well fold it up and go to the house. So, yeah, you take a $1,000 rifle and put a $300 scope on it, you got a $300 gun. That's the bottom line. It don't matter what that gun will do. If you can't see it, you can't shoot it. And that's all there is to it. You can take a $200, $300 rifle and put a $1,200 scope on it, and you got something. If the gun is accurate. Now, not all $300 guns are accurate, but they are some that are. So that all goes back to. But now my big thing is I've got a 308 that has got the 5R rifle and triangle barrel tactical stock. Got a Leopold scope on it that is, I think, a 50 power or 55 power. I can reach out and touch something with it. Too heavy to tote. Good for sitting in a shooting house, but about it. I don't hunt with it a lot. I love my 270 short mag. It's in a Browning A-bolt that is left-handed. I've got a 270 and a Browning A-bolt, left-handed. It's the regular 270. I don't hunt with any of them very much. If I get a rifle out and go to the woods, usually I've got my little junior model 7mm 08 that I have had since I was a kid that will be Brody's gun eventually. But I like black powder. And when I'm wanting to shoot a deer with a 30-30 that my dad gave me, was his gun. I've not killed a deer with it. So I'm probably going to be determined to do that this year, and I want to shoot one with a muzzleloader. But the 245-70s, I'm shooting black powder cartridges in. So probably that'll be what I hunt with. You probably won't see me hunting with high-powered scopes. My daughter, she'll have hers. We'll probably tune it up, and she'll be hunting with it. But as far as me wanting to shoot 500 yards, it's cool to do that. I mean, that is a skill that is good to have. It's just not my thing. And I'm not big on bow hunting because I have crippled up deer and trailed them and not found them, and it hurts my heart to injure an animal and not get it. I struggle with that deeply. And that is just if you're not very good with a bow, which I am not, that's a part of the struggle that you got to deal with. So the cure for that is to practice more with the bow and get where that ain't a problem. But, you know, excitement sets in when you see a deer and all that. Well, Tommy Litchfield, is nice of you to join us. You've missed the last couple of shows. Jeffrey, the plantain and the aloe vera, I just split the plant open and rubbed the clear gel out of it onto the burn for the first day or two. After that, I have used nothing but plantain, and I used the plantain salve that I made, and it has worked wonderful for me. So, yep, Jeffrey, you got a point with the mounts. We put good mounts on everything. Your scope ain't no good if it ain't mounted good. I will agree with that wholeheartedly. No question whatsoever. Huckleberry, all we use is reloads too for the most part. Now my 30-30, I've got the dies, everything to reload it. You can go buy a box of shells cheaper than you can reload them now. 5 years ago, that was not the case. You could go reload 2 boxes of shells for what a box you bought cost. Part of it is primers, so yeah, that's why I'm like pushing black powder. It's not that, hey, I want to play mountain men. I like to play mountain men. I like to build a teepee and wear buckskin, so I like all that. But that ain't my biggest reason for black powder. My biggest reason for black powder is, hey, you can kind of make it. You can, you know, the percussion caps you got to get, but with flintlock, you know, you probably find a rock that'll spark, you know. Anyway, thought process on that. Dave, here the primitive weapon is anything black powder and then pre-19 something that has to be a single shot, like a 35 Wheeling, 45-70, 444, I think there's another cartridge, maybe like 45 one. I think you can shoot any of the old like Quigley Down Under looking cartridges, and they can be smokeless powder in those cartridges, but it has to be a single action gun. Now I'm wanting a Marlin guide gun and a lever action that would not be considered a primitive weapon, but I still want one. Oh, yeah, Jeffrey, I've got a video on making that plantain salve, and it is like probably doing as well right now as any video I have. It's, I think, from last year or year before, but it is in the foraging and medicinal plants playlist. You can go look it up on how to make that salve. Yeah, David, I'm using 2F in everything. And I'm using 2F because that's what I have the most of. I've got about 4 or 5 cans of 2F. I've only got 1 can of 3F. I went to Powder Valley has GoX powder now. You can buy GoX powder from Powder Valley. Buffalo Arms did not have any. They were out of stock. But I looked at like 2 cans, time you bought 2 cans of powder is like $27 a can. Was gonna be $100 time you paid the hazmat, the shipping, the signature. It was like $10 because you was gonna have to sign for it. I mean, they had all kind of charges, which the hazmat, I mean, I understand all that stuff, so. But I need to order some more 3F because 3F is what I mainly shoot in my little flintlock, the 36 caliber. But what I got to thinking is, you know what? We need to just learn how to get good at making powder. So I decided not to order powder. We may try to see what we can come up with making powder. Gable Reeves asked, what is a good starter rifle black powder? Uncle Sasquatch, you want to answer that one? Uncle Sasquatch is a wealth of knowledge, which among some other people on here, I just know Uncle Sasquatch has got a lot of good videos. I was looking last night, and the only place I want to think, I was looking for rifles on there. The only rifles I saw, I want to think Buffalo Arms had some guns. They were like $1,400 for black powder guns. So I don't know where you would even get a good traditional looking. I mean, you can go inlines. If I'm gonna shoot an inline though, I'd just soon shoot the 45-70 and load black powder. I'm probably gonna get a stump loader. I mentioned this before for my 45-70, so we can just load black powder here cheaply, you know, without having to buy presses and all that stuff. Possibly get me a bullet mold for the thing. Thompson Center, Larry said that would be a good one. I will say this, Michigan Prepper has a point. If you, and I'm sure Kibler has finished rifles, but when you're talking about getting a custom gun, that's like Mr. Jack Garner up here at Tennessee Valley Manufacturing has some good kits. He will build you a rifle, but that for starter, I mean, you're better off to start with that, but it's expensive. You're talking $1,200, $1,400 for a rifle that somebody else built. That's probably your smartest option, because then you don't have to upgrade and you know you got something good to start with. But $1,400 to see if you like black powder is a little much. But now here's the next thing. We don't bat an eye at paying $1,400 for a new bolt action or automatic rifle. So, and then put a $1,400 scope on it. So it's kind of about what you want. Now, I will say this, talking about black powder. You can get on eBay and buy most of the parts to assemble a rifle that is a finished product. You just got to buy the barrel separate, the stock separate, and make sure you buy the compatible. That's how they're selling them on eBay. You got to buy one part here and then the stock over here. When you get it, then put it together. And you can do that for probably $600 or $800. That might be an option you can think about. Let me go flip my ribs and such over. Y'all talk about black powder. I'll let y'all look. We probably done burnt part of them. Oh no, they just right. One thing, this wild stuff, it has to get good and hot. Let me that corn, it's got to really get. In fact, I like to pull it out of the shucks and let the kernels start turning dark on it for me. Brody, you want ribs? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's going to be hot, son. Just right. We timed out perfectly. Well, Roscoe, I didn't cook you one. There's y'all some corn silks. They very medicinal. I better move here. I'm gonna cut the fire off. I don't know. Y'all can't even tell. I wanted y'all to kind of see what the fire was doing in there. You see how it is mainly burning on one end where the air is coming in, which the heat is getting pretty even in there. That is why I put this bigger rack of pork ribs back to this back end. So anyway. We'll lay this one out for Brody to cool. I think I'm gonna leave that lid open so it don't get so hot in there for a moment. I'm gonna sit down and sample this. Let me shake the camera all around some more. All right, well, give me just a second right here. Lord, we're so thankful for this food. We pray that you bless it to nourishment our bodies, give us strength and good health. Lord, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Brody done went and got on his four-wheeler, started riding around. All right. Gable Reeves, I trust me, You don't want one that somebody's gonna give you. I done found that out. I've been given 3 rifles, and I had to put one together to get one I can hunt with. So when people start giving you stuff, it's for a good reason. I done learned that. I think they mean well. I don't think it's like maliciously, but you can eat that tallow when it's good and hot like this. You let it sit down over there and cool off much, you can't eat it. Homestead Princess, we got deer ribs and wild pork ribs. Corn on the cob. I have never used lapping compound. Gable Reeves, I struggled for a while with mine trying to figure out why it wouldn't shoot. And I didn't know enough about I'm learning black powder as well. I mean, I have learned a lot now in the last 3 or 4 years. I know a heap more than I did when I started. I already knew I liked it. I mean, it didn't take me long right off the bat to fall in love with it. If I hadn't fell in love with it, I would have got frustrated and give up. But I do love it. I love the allure of it, and also, but see, I didn't understand why I couldn't get it to hit. I never could get one to group like I was comfortable with a high-powered rifle. I'm used to stacking them on top of each other, and that's what I believed in. Well, these, I'm like, well, if I can just get one to shoot decent, well, I never could. So when I was trying to shoot those sabots, everybody was laughing at me because I was trying to put a patch on them. Well, the reason I was putting a patch on them is because they would dang near fall down the barrel, and I didn't know that they wasn't supposed to. Had I known that already, I would have known that I had a problem with the barrel. So, you know, I mean, you live and you learn, but yeah, you don't want no junk gun. You better off to get a new barrel. You can buy an old rifle if you can find a new barrel for it, or if you know who owned it and you trust them to tell you it's good. But buying it online, you can't do that. But now what I have seen, reason I'm telling you about these on eBay, most of them will say an unfired barrel on there, so you know what you're getting in. Come here, Roscoe. Give him one with a little bit of meat still on it. Come over here. Come here. Here. Yes, we got, in fact, there's about 5 sets of Martin houses and gourds. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of gourds and 3 houses. We love our Martins in. And I don't have a lot of problem with bugs in my garden either because of them. Well, they say don't give a dog a bone, but I always do. Oh, I'm gonna destroy that feather that's hanging on that. I'm be honest with you, I'm about sick of that feather and them beads on that knife. They look cool, but they're not practical. Somebody already figured that out, didn't they? Time to put a little light on the situation. It'll be slipped up here and got dark on me before I realize it's what'll happen. I laid Brady a reel out. I don't know where he went. I may need to go hunting. Tommy, you got a point there. If they don't know about hot soapy water, it ain't clean. And yes, there's a lot of other ways to clean a gun, but the cheapest, most average way for the average person is hot soapy water. I had bought the Murphy's oil soap to use. It works good, but now the problem with Murphy's oil soap in a muzzleloader is when you pour it down the barrel, if you don't put a toothpick or something in your vent hole or the priming cap or whatever, when that Murphy's oil soap comes out the bottom and gets on your stock, it'll take all the finish off that stock. Yeah. It'll soak the oil right up out of it. Brody! See if we can get him to answer us back. There comes Mary Anderson. We done talked about her tonight. Hops, yep, hops works good. I've got some hops. Homestead Princess, I just tanned a buckskin with Murphy's oil soap. Most everything has more than one use around here. But practically, I put a little Dawn dishwashing liquid in there in a water bottle and run hot water in the water bottle. Not a drinking water bottle, but I have a little small, actually I think it's like a hot sauce bottle or something that ain't got a lid on it. And I put that in there and it'll fit right in my barrel and I can pour it down the barrel. You gonna eat these ribs? You hungry? Ribs. He don't hear good. He got that honest. What? Roscoe's sitting here watching me hard. Just steadily licking his lips. Mary Brody's out here running around on his four-wheeler. He went down there looking for a tomato and he didn't find but one. I'm gonna make me another Possibles bag. I'm gonna sew it on this sewing machine over here. I was gonna film tanning a deer hide, but when I was bucking it, I let it set 2 days in there and I cut a hole in it with a fleshing knife. So it's got several holes in it before I got done because it's so hot here right now. It shouldn't have stayed in that bucking as long as it did. It liked to messed up. But I've had it out today stretching it. I stretched it the other day and then I had to put it in the freezer, so I let it thaw out today because I was gonna be here and let it stretch. Come here, Roscoe. Yeah. And it's got several holes in it. But I'm gonna take some of my leather dye or something and dye it dark. And then I'm gonna sew it. I don't care if I don't want it soft like buckskin anyway. I want it more like leather. So a lot of times I do that. And I think I'm gonna order me some really good buckskin online to make my jacket out of. I didn't ever make it last year because I really wasn't happy with the buckskin I got. I got 2 or 3 more to tan though. I may get better at it. Tanning a hide's a lot of work, y'all. Especially to come out with a quality you want to make a jacket or something out of. Hey, you eating a green apple? Come get these ribs and eat them. They're laying on, I let them cool for you. Come here and get them. He don't mind good, does he? Get the sips off my corn. Oh, that's good corn. That's been in the freezer. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I chopped both ends off and stuck it in a cardboard box and set it in the freezer. Most everybody would swear, oh, that's freezer burnt. It may be, but it's still good, doggone it. I guess when you grew up poor, you ain't as picky as other people. I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, I need me a rag out here to wipe my face with. That's what I need. Well, I got rib grease, and I mean, I can't touch my iPad. That's why I'm leaning over like this to look at it. I get to smearing with it, I wouldn't be able to see nothing. I go to touch something, I'd be done, there ain't no telling what I'd do. Come on, Matthew, I got them. There's more on there than I'm gonna eat. There ain't nobody here but us chickens tonight. Me and Brody by ourselves bacheloring. Mayor Wiz talking about your unboxing stuff you sent me. I lost the video to it. But I found it finally after about 4 days. I didn't have the heart to tell you I lost your video. I thought I'd deleted it. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna tell her I deleted her video. She'll swear I done it on purpose. But I found it yesterday. I just hadn't got to put it in a video yet. I'm afraid if I put it in there, that old boy that didn't like me might get on there and comment. Well, I blocked him. He can't. I don't know. I didn't block him. Or did I? One that was griping about me getting people to send me stuff. Maybe somebody go buy peppers from him. He got a pepper patch somewhere up there in Carolina or somewhere. Y'all go buy peppers from Patrick's Peppers and tell him I sent you. That'll really cook his goose. Tell him, and when you buy them, tell him I'm still doing unboxing videos. The Bible says do good to them that despitefully use you. Said it'll heap coals of fire on their head. I ain't let him rain on my parade. I just made fun of it, had a good time with it, went on about my life. He was the one worked up about it, wasn't me. Y'all was talking about them Martins. If you'll look right up in there, there's a... Let me turn them up a little bit. You can see right at the top up there them gourds. I don't know if y'all see them. Them things is flying everywhere. We had babies hatching all last week, and they was crawling around the yard out there. I think the cat got some of them. I hate that, but what you do? I mean, I hated to kill a cat over Martin. I don't like a cat. I didn't want to kill him either. He does catch a rat along, or she. I ain't gonna kill a cat. Don't. I know somebody's getting all worked up. They doing this right here on the phone right now. I ain't gonna hurt the cat. Oh. Mary, I had one of the jellies, but now I don't know which one or what. And the pepper jelly was good. Jim Reynolds, they called and told me that medal was down there, and I forgot to go by and get it. It's still there, though, I guess. I thought about it this week when I was working on knives, and they called me and told me it was there. But no, I have not went and got it, but I'm going to. I need to go get me a rag and wipe my hand. I hate to lay his corn on the cob down. Brody, you want corn on the cob? He dropped his apple. He's got 2 apples out there. Hey, don't be picking no more of my green apples. They not ready, son. Hey, they gonna tear your stomach up, give you the scars. You know what the scars are? You'll learn in a little while. You know that problem you had when we was fishing the other day? It'll be worse. Come here. How many of my apples did you pick? How many of my apples did you pick?
4.
Don't pick no more. They're not ready, son. Come here. Whoa, 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 hammerhead. Your ribs laying on that cutting board, cooling off. You want corn on the cob?
Corn on the cob. Daddy.
Get that rib. Yeah. Yeah. Eat it.
What's it from?
A deer. And here's your corn on the cob.
I thought we was getting liver.
We didn't go to town. I told you if we fried liver, we was going to have to go to town and get them, and you said you didn't want to go to town. Don't get in my chair now, hammerhead. All right, y'all, I got to go get something to get all this stuff off. Brody, you mind what you telling them people? Don't be talking ugly to them now. I'll be right back.
So y'all, this is pork boil with y'all need it. Taste it. One day when I have stuff. You gotta bite the bone off. You have to bite the bone.
You tell them anything?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. I wish this was an alligator snap.
You like alligator?
Yeah. I
You
like.
tell them you eat alligator the other night?
Nope.
You didn't tell them?
Yep. I ate alligator the other day.
All right, let me have my chair. You get over yonder and sit down. Well, let me go fill up my coffee cup. You can sit there a second.
Well, so I'm all alone again. That roller, it didn't work right. I had to control it. Well,
Come on. All right. Out of my chair, boy. Boy.
well, where can I see it?
Over there in that chair.
They can't see me from over there.
They can't. Well, we'll fix it where they can then. First off, let's turn our bug light over here on.
Then guys, need to taste this.
Whoa! I done dumped a. Whoa! We got a problem. That chair folded up on us, didn't it? You got to get out of it. Lord, hell. What does that thing do? God. We like to dump him good, didn't we? Oh, y'all. All right, now what all have I missed? Mike Reed has showed up in the house. Brody Mike said he wanted some of your ribs. What? I didn't mean to kick you. Fresh tomato.
Hey, can you
Kevin said it is too hot to fish. I just about agree with you. You got to go early in the morning. What?
get that skin off?
Well, son, give me a minute. What? Oh, Lord. What you, that ain't skin. That is meat, son. That is the meat. You got to bite it. See? Get over there and sit down and eat that. There, I got me another cup of coffee. I'm fixing to be full of coffee too. I got my Bowie knife out. I've been toting it, y'all, here recently. I'm probably going to tote it more, but like I said, I'm probably going to have to get rid of this blooming feather. All that stuff looks cool, but you constantly got to wait and it's making racket, flopping, and that. It looks good, but it ain't practical. But I'm gonna tell you what, this knife is as sharp as any knife I ever made. Yeah, I'm scared to put salt on it. Jeffrey scolded me about putting salt on my cucumber a while ago. And I'm too sorry to walk right over there and get it. But these tomatoes are good enough, fresh like this, they really don't need a lot. It'd be better on them, it would. What?
Ow!
Get that corn and eat it. Wait, what's the problem?
It's hot.
It ain't hot no more, it's cooled off.
What? It's hot. Ow, it's
Him, you want this one? That ain't got as much. That may be better.
Oh, ow! Ow, it's hot. Hot.
What's wrong? Yeah. Look at him. A piece of that drop cloth off that TP. Make a perfect rag on it. It's what was laying there. Alright. I'm through eating. I'll eat the rest of that stuff later on tonight. Let me get over here where I can talk and get on to another conversation. Ho, ho, ho.
And what's that made?
I laid it on the... You didn't eat it? I laid it on that cutting board by your corn.
What? I don't want it. I want the other one. What's
Other what?
the other made?
The one you threw down? I'll give it to Roscoe.
What?
Get the other one over there and eat it.
It was hot.
Son, it ain't that hot.
Yeah, it is.
It ain't no good cold. Kevin, I was gonna go frog hunting, but I have got difficulties. The last time I run my little motor on my Yamaha motor, it didn't want to pull crank right. And I hadn't fooled with it. There's so many lily pads, it's hard to do that in a canoe. In the canoe, you need somebody else with you up front to do the gigging while you do the paddling. That way they up front can get the frogs. So me and Lissy went one night last year and did all right, but I haven't went this year. I wanted to go. I need to get my boat motor and make sure it... Something about when you pull it, it don't catch every time. And I didn't want to get in the middle of that duck pond and all them lily pads and get stranded. Lady Hammer, how you know if it's white bleach salt or not? We just buy the great value salt. I'm sure if it's bad for you, I'm getting the bad kind. I got some pool salt down there in a 40-pound sack. How will that work? I bet it really ain't good for you. Yep, Mary, you and Mike, I'm going to have to get up to Virginia. I'm going to have to swing through the Carolinas and see a bunch of folks. I need to make a trip up that way sometime before 2 got awful late. But I'm having to save my money up to pay my deer camp dues now. What's the matter, bud?
Everything's just hot and that has bones.
Well, eat off the bone. The other one had bones in it, too.
What?
Oh, Jesus. Quit whining now. Look, eat that. Look, there you go. Eat that now. They might be a bone, I don't know. No, there ain't no bone in that now. Eat that. Look, you can bite off the edge of that. That's meat on this side. There's a bone in there, but you can bite off of it. Here's your another piece. Eat your corn on the cob. Oh, y'all, I have managed to keep him alive a whole week by myself. My wife never thought I could do it, I don't believe. She'll call every little while. What's Brody doing? I don't know, I ain't seen him. What? Well, he was on his four-wheeler. Let me go look. Oh, Lord. I just act like I ain't half watching him. She's up there. It's probably why her blood pressure's so high. Mary, you ain't coming to Mississippi. You been gonna come for a year. We ain't seen you yet. Just like I probably ain't coming up there, don't look like. Do I ever eat alligator meat? It's illegal to eat alligator meat here. But yeah, I've eaten some. I can't tell you how I got it. Brody ate some this week. We didn't cook it. One of the neighbors cooked some.
Was it our neighbors?
Huh?
Was it our neighbors?
Our neighbors. Are you through eating?
Yeah, but was it our...
It was our neighbors. Neighbors is people that live close to you. Next door neighbors is the people that live right beside you. Y'all come on, go fishing. You be like the other day, we didn't catch much, but now we had a good time. Found some mushrooms, met some people that watch the channel.
they watching us.
Yeah, they may be watching right now. Redmond salt is excellent. I don't know that I've ever seen Redmond salt. I'll have to look into that. Jennifer, somebody told me I needed to get him his own channel started, but the problem is right now I'd have to edit all of his videos. And y'all, you talking about a challenge. But now, I promise you, he'd film better than his mama. I handed her the camera while I was baptizing, and I like to have never got all the shaking and moving and cattywampus filming done, edited out of that. And she finally passed the camera off to my sister-in-law, and then I didn't have to edit nothing. She did perfect. And Kevin, I am trying to. Now, I probably ain't doing well. I'm doing better than I did with my daughter. Now, I did all right with my daughter. I just missed a lot of it. I was more preoccupied with myself and my problems and living a bad part of my life. But I'm trying to spend more time with him. I can't sit here and say, oh, I'm doing perfect and I got, everybody needs to do like I do. But I'm doing the best I can, and that's really about all a man can ask for. None of us is going to be perfect. I get frustrated. Get down, leave his stuff alone. Everybody gets frustrated. Your patience is going to wear out, and you. A couple of rules of thumb. What you need? More ribs. Let me get him some more ribs. I'm trying to keep him. I'm trying to keep him well fed. Yeah, Jennifer, that'd be my luck. His channel blow up. You gonna eat it off the reel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meat.
Here, there's a lot of meat on that. I tore it in half and I got the other part. Huh? Throw it to Roscoe. He was up there really wanting it. Yeah, I've been fixed him a channel up and it'll blow up and... When I'm filming, I'm editing as I film. Like, I know, hey, I'm gonna use this. Now, I usually trim out, and like hey, listen. If I'm down there working on something, I'll just turn the camera on and do what I'm doing, and I'll try to cut because me sitting there doing the same thing, repeat like stitching a knife sheath or something, I'm just doing the same thing over and over. You don't want to sit there and watch all of that. I try to leave enough that you get the idea and the feel of the time, that goes into this part or that part. But I try not to bore everybody to death, and it's a fine line. It's hard to get it right. I don't have it down perfect yet. But editing something that somebody else films could be a nightmare. Here, Brosco, you've eaten good tonight, haven't you? Yeah, them deer ribs is good if you eat them hot. That's why I left the pork ribs over there. They'll be all right after they cool off. We may eat them for dinner or something tomorrow. Go eat your corn on the cob before the flies toted off. But I'm trying to do a good job raising him. I want to teach him. I don't want to spoil him, and we are spoiling him, but I don't want to. In other words, I don't want to just hand him everything. I want him to understand that you need to work for things, that you need to be patient, that you don't get everything you want immediately. I want him to know how to take care of himself, but a couple of rules of thumb is kids need discipline. A lot of people's like, oh, never spank a kid. That's wrong. A kid they don't need to be abused. One thing is never spank a young'un while you mad. Because he does stuff that I get furious about. Never spank them while you're mad. Calm down And then even with my daughter back in my drinking days, when I had to spank, I didn't have to give her a lot of spanking. She was a good youngin'. But I never would give her a spanking that I didn't stop. And I think one time I kind of got aggravated and spanked her about something that I probably didn't do like I should have. I mean, I didn't abuse her by any means, but most of the time I would stop and I would say, you just throw the whole rib down over there to the dog. And I would try to sit her down and say, look, this is why you're getting a spanking. This is what you're being punished for. This is what you should have done. And by then, we're both calmed down. We both have understanding that we do the discipline. Just grabbing up a young'un because you mad at them and popping them, that really ain't a good thing. I don't, so I try not to do that. Does it happen occasionally? Yes. You know, and sometimes there's things that, so what, you know, I'm not perfect at raising a kid. At 40-something years old, I've calmed down and mellowed out a lot. Probably ain't mellow as I need to be at times. So I try to slow down and take time and realize that, you know, he needs to learn things. And I reckon I'm going to homeschool him, so I probably got my work cut out for me for there. We may crawfish on that idea before it's said and done. Reckon? Who's your best friend?
That one.
You're supposed to say daddy. That's all right, buddy. It's all right. Matthew Graves, we've eaten deer meat every night this week since Mama's been gone. We just worked on the freezer because I'm easy to please. I love it. I love deer meat. And my wife eats deer meat. First night we had deer steaks. For my birthday, I cut the center cut out of the hind quarter. That's my favorite cut of the deer. Because the back straps are good, but they're not big around enough. I take that center cut and cut it about an inch and a half thick. Let me talk. And I put it on the Blackstone, seasoned it good, seared it, left it bloody in the middle. Not bad bloody, but good and pink. A little more reddish pink. That was what we had the first night Michelle was gone. Second night we had ground deer meat. It was something that she had laid out was going to cook one night, and then something come up and we did something different. It needed cooking, so I cooked it. Last night I was looking for something. I asked my daughter, I said, what you want? And she's picky, bad picky. I said, you know what? We got some more deer meat in here because I knew we're going to probably have deer meat coming in this fall because I've got a place locked down to deer hunt. If I got a place I can hunt, I can kill deer. So trying to get stuff out of freezers, really. And so last night we cut up deer meat and fried it. And we had fried deer steak and cooked it out here on the cooker. And then tonight I was like, you know what? I wanted to use a charcoal grill, do the ribs. The ribs is easy. Me and Brody's here by ourselves tonight. He'll eat about whatever as long as it's meat. What you need now?
Meat.
You want, well, look under that towel over yonder. Raise the other end of it up. There's ribs under there. Now cover it back up where the flies don't get on it. We should have cooked our mushrooms at some point. We hadn't done that yet, but we do deer meat, and deer stew is good. Usually over in the fall, I'll pull out deer meat that I've kept all year and make a stew out of it because it needs getting rid of. So, and when you put something in a stew, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I cook a stew, I can take freezer burnt meat and make a stew out of it, and you would never know it's freezer burnt. Or at least I don't. Now, there may be somebody that's, you know, sensitive palate that can, some people don't eat nothing. But now, I like gamey taste. The reason I eat deer meat, I don't try to get the blood. I don't like soaking meat in salt water to take all the color out of it. That's a no-no for here. I like to put it in a cooler with bottles of froze water in there so that it don't water the meat down. That way when I package it It's still very much very red. So. We used to grind a lot of meat. I don't grind as much of it as I used to. I do have a electric meat grinder. And Michelle, she made a lot of spaghetti and all that kind of stuff out of deer meat. So we eat a good bit. The problem, I hadn't done as much grinding lately. And we made sausage last year, but I didn't kill as many deer. I killed 2 deer last year because this swamp, y'all, is getting hard to kill deer in it the way I like to hunt. And no more than I got to hunt, which I didn't get to hunt hard last year because the buggy was down a lot. So, go get in your chair. Matthew Graves, there's wild boar ribs on that plate right over there right now. Some of the ribs is deer ribs. If you go back and look at the first part of this video, the whole solid rack that I put on the grill, that is all wild pork ribs. So we do eat wild boar. Brody's shoe size, I think he's up to like, his boots he had was like a 9 to 9.5, and I think he done outgrowed them. So I think he's ready for 10, 10.5 and a kid. Get over there and sit down. I'm trying to talk. You showing out. He don't like to mind real good. Rodney Dunaway, I still stand by that statement. If you don't like the gamey taste in deer meat, you need to hunt cows. I'll stand by that. I'll back up, though, on this. As long as if you kill a deer and you eat it, if you got to get all that out, by all means, do what you got to do to eat the animal that you killed.
Dad, I pulled the whole skin off that.
Yeah. It's good, ain't it? It's all over your face.
Get my face on.
But yeah, I and a lot of stuff I say, I do a lot of picking and carrying on because one of the things, y'all, I do stand by is the best way to do things is the way you like to do it. And there's a lot of, I've said this over and over, there's a lot of good reason for that statement. Is because you need to do things the way that makes you happy, where you can enjoy life. And if it works for you, good, you learn something. If it don't work, well then you know my way don't work. And I can then take advice from other people. So by all means, do things the way you want to do them. And if whatever your way is works for you and you like it, then that is the way you need to be doing it. Because I'll show you my way. I'll tell you my ways, the way I like to do it. It's the best way for me. Very few things has a dead set right or wrong way, and there is some things like grunnels. The bowfin has to be kept alive till you ready to clean it. It don't matter what you do, where you at, how you like to cook it, or whatever. If you kill him, put him on ice, and you leave him on ice for 2 or 3 hours, and then you clean him, he already ain't gonna be as good. I mean, you setting yourself up then for disappointment from the get-go. A lot of people ask me, what's the best way to cook bowfin? Well, I like it fried, but I like all of my fish fried. I do like it on the Blackstone. I have cooked it on the Blackstone. I've cooked it over an open fire. I've grilled it. It's good every way I have ever cooked it. And it is not mushy. You don't have to. I heard somebody say, oh, you got to make patties out of it. You ain't got to mush it up. If you got to make patties out of it, that's because you already ruined it. And I have not eaten a lot of gar, but people say that gar is the same way. So I wanted to catch some gar. I can't catch a gar for whatever reason.
No.
Brody, quit all that hollering. But talking about the deer meat, I like the taste of wild game. I love squirrel. Squirrel is probably one of my favorite wild games to eat. And I like it fried. I like it slow fried. When you see me cooking fish, I put fish in there. I want my fish well done. I really like them a little crispy. So I like smaller fish because big, thick fish takes longer to cook, and they softer, and it just don't get as firm as I like it. So I push it to 275. I see a lot of people taking fish and cooking it at 350. I've never cooked fish that hot. If it works for you, cook it like that. I mean, it ain't wrong. I just don't do it that way. But now when I go to cooking deer meat or squirrels, I want it at 250. I'm dropping meat in there and I'm turning the fire back down. And usually if the squirrels are young and I know they're young, I don't worry about putting a lid on the pot. But now if I know them squirrels are old, tough squirrels, put the lid on that pot. If you got deer meat cut fairly thick, put the lid on that pot and it'll somewhat like pressure cook that meat a little. It'll help it be a little more tender. Now, obviously, you can run it through a tenderizer, deer steak, or pound it with something, and all that stuff helps. I very seldom do all of that. I got good teeth. I don't mind biting and gnawing on a piece of meat. So I'm not one of them, it's got to be just like mushy when I bite into it. When you get older and your teeth ain't as good, I understand all that changes. Son, quit hollering. Yeah, Tony Chachere's will make anything good. I put Tony Chachere's on about anything now. And I like my seasoning. I like that cinnamon taste that I've imparted. The cinnamon and the garlic, salt, lemon, pepper. Something about all that together I like. Everybody probably don't like it like I do. Stuff's biting me. I don't know if that was a mosquito or what, but it ain't all. I got some other kind of little bugs crawling all over. Son, get over yonder before you get that on my stuff. He ain't gonna mind. Boy, the moon's up big behind me, y'all. I just turned around and seen that. You can barely see it coming up right by that post over there. Let me move y'all over a little bit. Look at there. Y'all see the moon coming up right there? Full moon, huge. So anyway, Brody done figured out the hammock back there. He's took a liking to it. I hadn't spent very much time in it this week. Yeah, Brody, he's a gnawing and a carrying on, Jennifer. He grew up on squirrel, snipe, dove, quail, deer, turkey, duck, fish, and more. I did too. We grew up eating all the common stuff. Now, I have never eaten snipe. We have snipe here, not a lot of them, and they're actually a snipe bird. A lot of people think snipe hunting it was a joke, it was, but it also is a real bird. You really do shoot them in the pastures and stuff. Got a big long beak. But I've never killed any and ate them. We don't have any quail here anymore. Never had any pheasants. I raised pheasants for a little while and raised some quail. I raised the Courtney's quail. And I turned them loose, thought they'd live, but none of them ever make it. The fire ants get them, and the possums and all that eat everything, Ray. You can't hardly have any ground birds around here. We've got so many possums. And then I get worked up. People start saying, "Oh, don't kill a possum, eat ticks." Possums don't eat no ticks. A possum, it's okay to have a few possums around, and I don't just go out of my way to kill them. But if I'm trapping and one gets in a trap, I just about ain't gonna turn him loose. I used to at times, but we got so many of them. I don't. John Bright heard it was a strawberry moon. Well, it looks more like a pumpkin to me, but it's hot on that camera, y'all. It looks like a little old bitty dot, but that thing is huge out there. Bluegill should be on the bed, Matthew Graves. Sure should. When I was growing up, we had quail here. I used to sit out on of course, we had the bobwhite quail. I would sit on my mama's front porch and whistle at them, and I would call them things up in the yard. I've had as many as 4 males in the yard at one time talking to me. And really all you do is 4 whistles in a row like a... And you'll hear one holler back. But now there ain't none. I hadn't heard, and I tell you what else I hadn't heard here. Now I've got some neighbors that say they've heard a good many as whippoorwills. I ain't heard a whippoorwill around here. Heather, I have never eat possum, and I don't want to eat possum. Now if times get hard, I get hungry, I will eat a possum. I don't want to eat possum. I've done seen way too many possums eating like a buzzard that I just ain't going. I wouldn't eat a buzzard. I wouldn't eat a possum. A coon, I have cooked coon and eat it. Now, I have yet to eat coon that I would walk away and go, man, that was delicious. It was okay. I could eat it. I ain't scared to cook and eat it again. Bobcat was by far better than coon. I'd rather eat a bobcat than I had a coon. So, I'm not no fan of possum. Now, if times get hard and that's what I got to eat, by all means, I ain't above eating it. I ain't gonna eat no bugs if I can help it, but...
No one eats bugs.
We don't have any groundhogs here to amount to anything. I saw one year before last, or maybe last year. During the summer, it was running down the side of the road, running through a bank. Me and Brody was on the buggy. Had a tail like a paintbrush. And I was like, what? I thought it was a beaver, and then I thought, no, it's a coon. And I got right up out, and I was like, no, that's something else. And I got to looking on Google at animals, and I was figured out it was a groundhog. So when I made a post on Facebook about it, I had one of the local ex-game wardens. He's now a deputy sheriff, or he may be may have got elected to a higher office than that this past year. I can't remember. But yeah, but he contacted me, and he had been a game warden for quite a while, and he told me, he said, yeah, we do have groundhogs coming into this area. Said there's only been a few. He said, listen, he said, you're one of about 4 or 5 people that has told me that they've seen one that I would trust they knew what they were talking about. And I was like, well, I got a good look at this. I said, because if I hadn't, I would have assumed, well, it was a big old fat coon, or either it was a beaver that its tail got damaged or whatever. But I was going down the road, and that thing was right there in the ditch, and I was on the buggy, and I got a good look at him. So I knew exactly what I was looking at. So they're starting to get in here, and I've heard that they are very good to eat. Now, I have never eaten one, so they say you don't want them here. They say they'll eat your garden up. So, you know. Brody he's wound up, Square. Quail is not hard to raise, Matthew. Now I went out there one day, and there's a chicken snake got over in their pen. If you got chicken snakes around, he knows and hears their sound, I reckon, or whatever. There was a couple occasions that I had chicken snakes get in there and have 1 or 2 of them swallowed. And then after he swallows one, he can't get back through that chicken wire to get out. And so I would catch him and get him out and kill him. But other than that, I didn't have a lot of trouble raising them. They would raise fairly decent. But now when I turned a bunch of them loose to see if they would take to the wild, and I didn't have no luck with that. I should have just killed them and ate them, but I don't know. I wanted to see if they would raise. And you can buy a bunch of them for a little or nothing, and as babies, and raise them off. Jennifer, your groundhog stole your tart? Boy, that'd fire me up right there now. Lord, Lord. Kevin, I have heard that they were a nuisance. So, you know, if I see one, I'm probably not gonna kill the first one I get a shot at, just because I wouldn't mind having some, but it's like the deer out here. You know, I don't mind having deer around. I don't mind watching the squirrels out there playing. But then when I'm trying to have a garden, all of it becomes a problem then. Now, the only thing I ever have trouble with a deer is peas. They don't bother my corn. They don't bother anything else. Now, there is a baby rabbit that stays right out here. I figure he's the culprit to eating some of my young tender plants down. I set out about 3 or 4 tomatoes here last week, and every one of them's gone. If there's something young and tender, they'll bite it off. I got plenty of tomatoes. I didn't even worry about it. So, chalked that one up for a loss and let it go and went on about my business. Reed Mitchell, we definitely gonna cook in the teepee this fall. In fact, we're probably gonna do some stuff in it as soon as we get it set up. I want to work on making another bow, and I want to make arrows and do all. And I would love to get into flint knapping. There's a young man here. I can't even think of his name now. Nick Sharp's son. They go to church with us. Has got into flint knapping and very good at it. And he says he has found some material around here to flint knap some of our own stuff. But of course, he has ordered some stuff online and done a fantastic job, y'all, making some arrowheads and made a knife that looks really good. And I would love to do it. I don't know if I have the time. I've got so many irons in the fire and other stuff I'd rather do. So my first attempts at arrow making, which I have made a good many arrows already. Not good arrows, but decent arrows. And I'll put metal tips in them. The same steel that I'm using for my knife blades, I'll take those scrap pieces off. I've saved some of them and make me some arrowheads to just slide in there, and they'll work a whole lot better than anything else for now. And then eventually we're gonna cook in the teepee, and I made it big enough that I can get in there and film. We're gonna camp out in it, all kind of stuff when it gets right temperature. Now, right now, I don't know if the mosquitoes, what kind of a problem they'll be, because I'm gonna have the bottom up off the ground about 6 inches. There'll be plenty of draft under it. And then I'll put a liner in this fall to make the smoke draft. So we're gonna get it up and see what it's like in there. A little warm for a fire right now, but we'll see how it all works.
Y'all like them bugs?
Ashley Mitchell, we've got armadillos here that is really a pretty good problem. I shot one. No, that was a possum. There was a possum in my blackberries the other night. I walked out on the back porch. I occasionally will step out this back porch because all these lights will be off for the most part. And I can step out the back door with one of my lights and shine out here and see pretty quick what's going on. And there was a possum out there in the blackberries pulling them down. So I don't know if I ever even hit him, because I shot him at about 75 to 100 yards. I was shooting at him with a 22. I ain't seen him no more. But armadillos, me and Brody saw one the other night when we were out looking for pigs, and I could have shot it, and Brody wouldn't let me shoot it, so I let it go. But they'll root up everything, and what the armadillos do for you is you don't have no fishing worms. They'll eat all your worms up that you're gonna go fishing with. David, you got your hickory bow bending. I have got a good hickory stave that has got a lot of back set to it. And I'm going to build a hickory bow out of it. I'm not going to char nothing. I've got one in my jig that has been in there, clamped in it for over a year now. And I'm going, it's probably been in there a year and a half, probably, really and truly. A good year, though. And I'm going to char it. I'm going to hang it over some fire somewhere and I charred the belly, but I started doing that and I didn't finish it. It didn't char enough. So I'm going to do all that and then Independent, them leaf springs gonna cost you a fortune to ship them here. I wouldn't suggest, I would love to have them now, but expensive. Hey, that's a cheap hammock, Jennifer. I don't know. I think I give like $10 or something on Amazon for that hammock. And I got it and I ordered the straps. If you get a hammock, and they're on my Amazon store, you go into it, you can find all the stuff I use. These straps that go around trees and stuff, they got these different loops. Now, most of us that do a lot of camping know about all this, but like there's a loop here, and then there's a loop right here, and they're like that all the way up to where that is hooked. What that does is allow you to hook wherever you need to stretch, depending on how far apart your trees are, and then it don't damage your trees or you ain't got to screw nothing into there. So them's just simply wrapped around there and slipped through and then hooked into that. And it's been there. We've all been in the hammock, so, and it's held up to him swinging in it. Upside down on his head and whatnot. Roscoe's finna go over and I think Roscoe's thinking about hiking his leg and peeing on Brody's head. That's probably, I thought if that was gonna happen, I'd get y'all a video of that. That'd be, we could put that on America's Funniest Home Videos. Oh, Lord, Lord. I've heard armadillos carry leprosy, but I'll tell you this. I watched one of my Mexican friends that I was working with one day shoot one, and I said, what you gonna do with that? He said, I'm gonna eat him. And they eat them, a lot of them. I said, y'all eat them in Mexico? He said, we don't have armadillos in Mexico. I said, why not? He said, because we eat them all. They say armadillo is good. I never eat one. Would I? If it was cooked good. Oh, they didn't bite. I ate them. It didn't kill them. I mean, I've seen them old boys out there cook on a sheet of rusted tin at a job site. Build a fire, throw a piece of sheet of tin that was scrap over it, throw taco meat on there, and they cooked just whatever they could find. Roadkill didn't matter, and wrap it up in a tortilla shell and go to eating. They still alive, so apparently stuff ain't as deadly as a lot of folks would make you think that, everything will kill you, But I always heard they carried leprosy. But when you put a piece of meat on fire and you bring it up to past 250 degrees, they ain't much gonna live through that. That's like these folks that get all excited and scold me about putting poison around. That granulated ain't poison around my squash to keep the squash bugs. I can take you down there and I ain't lost a squash plant yet. I got squash coming in, running out. I have not lost not the first one. In fact, the one that the storm blowed over and broke off even with the ground, I stuck it back in that wet dirt. It rooted and it's about to start making squash. And they said, oh, it's going to leach up through there and poison you. And I've been eating it for years. But if it was going to poison me, it'd kill that plant. You follow what I'm telling you. So, but the next thing is, if it does leach up in that plant, you cook it good enough, don't want it, kill it. You poke salad's poisonous, but if you boil it good enough and get it, hot enough, it'll kill all of that stuff. So they say your wild lettuce ain't no good if you let it get to a boiling, it'll kill all the stuff out of it. So, Brody, don't drag all that. Let me help him. He's got a whole rack of ribs over here. So somebody was asking about the wild boar. Oh Lord, I got too much stuff hanging off my tripod right here because I got my phone is plugged up to my battery pack here, hanging in a bag. Brody's obviously wanting some more. You want corn or you want the ribs?
Legal.
Ribs, right. Watch back. Get your nose back. You want them ribs? Yeah. That's deer or this is pork. Let's eat these pork ones. So this is the pork ribs right here, y'all. There, that's a little one. I'm gonna go ahead and cut these up for little man.
No.
This is wild. So you see how thin this is, a small pig. And I'm gonna be flat honest with you. Way better than the deer. These wild pigs, if times get hard and we can't buy groceries for them, we do go to survival situation. These wild pigs that everybody thought's been such a nuisance is gonna be a blessing from the Lord. I'm telling you. Because they multiply fast. Somebody said, yeah, but they run your hay field. Well, quit planting hay and eat pig. I mean, think about it. You ain't gonna have diesel fuel to be mowing hay anyway. Makes sense if you don't think about it. Yeah, Roscoe. All right. Let me cut the rest of this up. I had to eat one, see. Let y'all hear me smacking. Does that drive y'all nuts? If it... Get it? Can you shuck it or I gotta shuck it for you?
I gotta shuck it.
Yeah, okay, you can shuck it. That bottom thing right down there, y'all, that I left on there is usually hard to cut through, but if you got a good knife like this, you can about cut through the leaf spring on your pickup truck. It'll cut through bone, bot, whatever else. I've been a tote it. I got tired of toting Jonah. I love Jonah now, but all right. They gonna be all under here, Brody. I'm gonna cover them back up, keep the flies off of them. Use Mama's good towel. She's probably gonna whoop us. All right. Let's go back over here and sit down. Get out of my chair. Get out of my chair. Y'all, some of y'all ain't seen my light. Y'all like my light up there? All right. Get out of my chair, son.
In that chair.
Oh. I have to get all my stuff squared away. I can't see. Oh, Lord. Oh. So what all comments did I miss while I was over there doing all that? Well, I got to figure out my iPad now. It done got wonky on me. Oh, there it goes. Good to see you, Mike. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll see you on the flip side. Y'all go subscribe to Mike Reed's channel. He's doing some good preaching, some outdoor videos, showing some good scenery up there in Virginia. Lady Hammer, you have eat armadillo. These guys that I was working with, and these ain't, y'all, I know you think a lot of times when you see an old boy eating possum, and we all watch Lonesome Dove, and that old fella that was skinning that possum, you know, he was a nasty looking old fella, and you think, well, people that eat that stuff, it was trashy, nasty old folk. Y'all, this guy that eat got a nicer house than I do, and cleaner, and I mean, good folks, you know, so get out of that garbage. So it ain't like, you know, it's trashy old people eating this stuff, and they loved it, so. I don't, you know, I don't really have an opinion. We've always been taught don't mess with them. They got leprosy and all that stuff. But if somebody cooked an armadillo and they was eating it and said, here, try this, I'd try it. I don't know that I'm going to go out here and hunt one and kill it and eat it just for novelty. I might would do it for a video, but not just to feed it to everybody. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe we'll do an armadillo cooking video one day. How'd you cook it? Lady Hammer, how you cook it? You just fry it? We fry everything here in the South. Coffee's done about got cold. We fry everything. I mean, they fry Twinkies. I've heard of fried ice cream. We fry dill pickles. Fried dill pickles is good. Now, them fried dill, okra was good too. Wombats? I don't even know what a wombat is, but I can look it up and see, I reckon. John, yeah, Mike been doing a lot of picking and grinning on there, playing some good old gospel songs. He plays about the only good gospel music that I like. And then there's a guy, oh, I can't even think of his name now, on Facebook I have been following. Awesome guitar picker and gospel music singer. I tell you what I do. If you're on Facebook and you on my Facebook page, I'll share one of his videos to my page so you can find him. He's got some good picking and grinning. I can't think of his name, and I think he must watch my videos. But he really is pretty good at it and does some of my favorite songs. So. Fried dill spears is good. We usually do the little fried sliced pickles, and they good. Oh, Jennifer, that was Roscoe in the garbage. Roscoe was fixing to pull something out of that garbage can. Actually, it's a little bucket over there I stick paper and stuff in. And I wadded up where I had that meat in there, a bag, and stuck it down in there, and he was fixing to pull that out. It was too tempting. But yeah, you know, that'd be a good one to tell her. Matthew Graves, just look Spirit of the Outdoors on Facebook. It's the Spirit of the Outdoors page. Go follow it. And I'll share it. I usually link my videos on there for the fact that I've got a lot of, especially some older people, that family, different ones that are not on YouTube, and they'll watch my videos on Facebook. Like I'll share the video to Facebook and they'll find it there and watch it. So, but now I make posts and different things on there at times too. I don't put a lot of content on there. YouTube is my main focus. And then I got Peden Spirit of the Outdoors on Instagram. You can follow me on it. Now I do some reels and stuff on there that is like totally separate from what I do here. Ralph Stanley is good singing. Yes, sir, he is. And is he not the one that does Thomas, I am the man? Thomas, I am the man. Look at these nail scars here in my hand. That's a good one. See, the hammock is good for reading. Now, granted, I started reading Hanta Yo. I finished one of the books and I have not got to read in a week and a half. Nothing. We've gardened, I'm getting stuff, trying to keep it, and I've been working on knives, and there's just been a lot going on. I have not gotten to work on reading any of my book, but I wanted to read Hanta Yo. Martin Meltzer sent me some books, and then Uncle Sasquatch has sent me a bunch of books. I read one of the ones Uncle Sasquatch sent me here not long ago, but I've gotten out of my, I was on a pretty strict reading deal, and then I tell you what happened. Then I started making videos every day instead of just one or two a week. And now I spend all my extra time editing and working on videos. So, you know, cuts into my getting to read. So I don't read very fast. In other words, like you see me reading a book and I'll be reading that book for 2 weeks. My wife can read a paperback book in 2 days. I have seen her start a book one evening and wake up the next morning and she'd be at midnight, she'd be finished it, you know, well, 1 or 2 o'clock sometime. I'd be went to bed, but I don't read that fast. I told her she didn't read it either. She just skimmed over it. I accused her of going through there and finding the good parts and reading them and skipping the rest, but we ain't gonna get into all of that. Larry Alexander, I got a man that used to make knives. I got his old coal forge. He's, Lord rest his soul, he's done gone on to be with the Lord. And I seen a knife he made. The handle of the knife was a armadillo tail. And I said, you know what, I want to do that. And I never could figure out how to get the tail hollowed out to keep it from rotting and to make one. So I don't know how he done that. I didn't ever get to ask him. Tommy Litchfield, will the circle be unbroken? I like to hear the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band cover that. I don't know why I'm partial to that version. But if I'm going to hear somebody sing, will the circle be unbroken, I want to hear the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band do it. That's my favorite version of it. And I'm sure everybody has their own, but now I love Ralph Stanley now. Ralph Stanley is a top-notch singer. There'll never be another Ralph Stanley. I like the Dillards. I like old Earl Scruggs and Lester Flatt. Old good music like that is just hard to be. I like Bill Monroe. I mean, I can put a Bill Monroe CD on. But let me tell y'all what I listened to yesterday. I was cutting the grass and wanted to listen to something different. And I like old Sturgill Simpson's album, Dude and Juanita. If y'all like the mountain man scene stuff, the old Native American, Dude and Juanita by Sturgill Simpson is an awesome album. Whole album is a story, but I done wore it out. I've wore it out for the last 3-4 years since it come out. I tuned in to old Johnny Horton. Oh man, he'd sing that Comanche, the old horse, the brave horse. Man, that'd bring a tear to a glass eyeball. And then North to Alaska's a good one, and when it's springtime in Alaska, it'll be 40 below. That's a good one. Of course, then you got the Battle of New Orleans and Sink the Bismarck. And I listened to that album over and over the other day. I like some old stuff. And these folks, they get on all this new stuff, and I'm like, man, this new junk ain't even got a story to it. I don't know. It don't do it for me. How good somebody can play the guitar and how beautiful their voice is don't mean a whole lot. I want a song that tells me something, you know. They don't do that no more. They sing about old stupid junk all the time. I mean, you got to stop and think about the society has been on quite a decline in the last several years. And I'm hung up with I guess why I like the retired generations, because I'm a lot more like them. I was born about 200 years too late, but most definitely about 50 years too late, because I'm in line with a lot of the folks that's about 50 years older than me. I mean, stop and think about this now. You kids, and if y'all don't know what I'm talking about when I say this, God bless you, thank you for you. But the most popular thing on the internet right now is a woman spitting. The nastiest thing I can think of, and the majority of folks think it's wonderful. I said nastiest thing is a woman spitting I ever seen in my life. Don't even get me started on that. I'll go off on a full rant about that one video, because I've seen it about 200 times. It makes me nauseated every time I see it. And everybody else just thinks it's wonderful. You know, that's where we've got in society, that everybody likes that kind of junk. So I can tell you what the music's like. Lord, Lord, Lord. I follow Hawking Horse Rodney. In fact, I have shot a few messages back and forth with him, but not a lot. I try not to worry people. But yeah, he's got some good, and I have a couple of his albums. But I'm going to just be honest with you, it might hurt his feelings. He ain't got nothing on Dude and Juanita. Sturgill Simpson, I ain't no big fan of the rest of Sturgill Simpson's stuff. He's got a few other songs that I like. But that one album is probably one of the best albums that has been put out for people like me that like that kind of stuff in the last 20 years. I mean, it's that good. Old Larry Alexander, old Johnny Cash doing the Great Speckled Bird's about as good a version of the Great Speckled Bird's there ever was done. He is good with it. Tommy, I hadn't heard Johnny Horton's version of Old Slewfoot. I'll have to pull that up and look at it. I will definitely have to do that. But yeah, Hawking Horse is good. Chris Stapleton is good. I like Chris Stapleton. He has got a lot of good music. I don't listen to a lot of any new stuff unless somebody's like, "Hey, you need to check this out. You know, you'll like this." And I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, check this out. This is wonderful." And I listen to it and be like, So, you know, I'm different. Y'all, give me a half a second. Let me check and see where Brody is at and what he's up to. I'll be right back. I have to keep an eye on him. Never mind, he's laid up on the couch watching TV. So as long as he's there, I ain't gonna bother him, man. I just have to make sure he ain't into something. He's bad to get in that bathroom and get to playing in the lotions and the soaps and get to making him some kind of concoction out of some of that expensive lotion. His sister stuff, we don't buy no expensive bunch of junk, but Lissy, she'll splurge on herself along, and Brody will find something nifty in there, some new lotion, and smells good, and he'll have it squirted in the sink. So I had to keep him from getting clobbered by her, you know. Yeah, y'all wouldn't know nothing about none of that, would you? That's what happens when you space your two kids out 15 years apart. I hear an aeroplane. Mike Culpepper, I think about old Jimmy Buffett's song, Pirate Looks at 40, when he says, "I was born 200 years too late, cannons don't thunder, and there's nothing to plunder. I'm an over 40 victim of fate." I fit right in there. I fit right in there. I feel you. I feel this. So anyway, you know, there's too much chaos in the world. There's too much going on. People zipping and back and forth here and there. I mean, I went to town the other day and I come out and I'll be honest with you, I had an ice cream cone in one hand, a steering wheel in the other, and I couldn't get to the blinker, okay? And I wasn't fixing to drop my ice cream cone just to turn the blinker on. And I got the finger from this little old young girl because she was sitting there and just, I didn't like it. And I just grinned at her real big and went on, you know. But people get so worked up about little stuff, you know. Yeah, I should have turned my blinker on. But get out of the garbage, Roscoe. I had to call his name this time so people didn't think it was Brody. You've had enough to eat, son. You have ate more deer ribs tonight than me and Brody put together. You've had enough to eat. You're going to pop. You're going to swallow. And people are going to scold me for giving you bones anyway. You can't have bones, they say. Dog, give a dog a bone. I don't know how that ever got started. People swear you can't give a dog a bone. They don't know how many you've ate, do they? Get up there in that chair over there and lay down. Get over yonder. You can't get up here. I got this in my hand. He don't listen good. Y'all, you ought to seen him the other day when my wife got her suitcase out and started packing. He got on my heels and would not leave my side. He just knew I was packing my stuff to leave. So Michelle went and got my bag. I got a backpack that I'll pack a few pair of clothes in when I'm going somewhere. I don't overpack. If it takes more than a backpack for me to go, as far as just clothes now, if I'm going camping, you can't put it all in the back of the buggy. But like if we going to stay somewhere, if the clothes I need for this trip require more than a backpack, I ain't got no business of going for the most part. Unless it's a hunting trip, now I might could swing that. But anyway, Roscoe, she got my bag out, throwed it on the bed, and oh son, he went to whimpering and whining. He just knew I was leaving. You ain't never seen such a happy dog in all your life. When she drove off from him, I was still sitting on the porch scratching him behind the ears. It was like a siren. He was like, oh. He can't handle me leaving. And he's been on my heels the whole time she's gone. Now, her little old dog in there just been a poor dude. I fed her one time while Michelle's been gone. Tommy, she got the Vaseline. Ho, ho, ho. I hear some young'uns on some four-wheelers or something or other. They don't believe in mufflers around here no more. And you know, a single engine ain't never sounded good without a muffler. One time I was young though, and I used to do all that stuff too. Tennessee Mafia Jug Band. I don't reckon I ever heard of them. Never did hear them. I'll tell you who I have heard of, and that's a fellow by the name of Jerry Clower. I was trying to think of if there's a good one that I ain't done told to death. But I like to hear me some Jerry Clower. I can be in a bad mood and put Jerry Clower on. Especially hear about him talking about old Mr. Duval Scott, you know. Old Mr. Duval Scott got to gambling one time. You know, he was the one that was a preacher. Well, he wasn't a preacher, but he was the one that run the store and quoted Bible verses all the time. Mr. Duval Scott got to gambling one time and went down there and bet on a bunch of horse races down there in New Orleans and mixed up with some folks he shouldn't have got mixed up with is what happened. And the mafia sent a fella up there to collect on the debt, and Mr. Duval Scott was hiding. And anyways, the fella pulled up out there at the end of the road. Uncle Versi was working a mule. He was out there plying the corn, you know, going up through there, and said these big old shiny car pulled up to the end of the road. Said, fella come walked up there, and two of them did, and said, hung on a fence there and Uncle Versa plowed the mule right on up toward the end of the road, was turned around and said, "Hey, fella," said, "them sure are some crooked roads." Uncle Versa said, "Yeah, you can get more corn on a crooked road." The fellow said, "Well," said, "you," said, "there ain't much between you and an idiot, are there?" Uncle Versa said, "No, sir, nothing but a fence." The fellow said, "Hey, you kind of a smart aleck, ain't you?" He said, "We looking for Mr. Duval Scott." He said, "I don't know where Mr. Duval Scott is." He said, "Yeah," said, you his friend, ain't you?" He said, "I don't know where he's at." Said, you asking the wrong fellow." Said, "I don't know where he's at. I hadn't seen him." Fellow said, "Well, you like to dance?" Uncle Versa said, "No," said, "I ain't never cared nothing about it." Said the fella pulled out from under his coat pocket, said a big shiny 6-shooter. Said he started shooting at Uncle Versa's feet out there, and said Uncle Versa went to dancing, jumping up around, and said, "Pow, pow, pow." Uncle Versa counted all 6 shots. He said when number 6 fired, said he stopped, eased over to his mule, said he reached up there on them hanes, said he kept a sawed-off shotgun up there to shoot them rats and things with. Said he slid that double-barrel sawed-off shotgun off on that mule, said he cocked it, stuck it up to that fellow's nose, and said, "Have you ever kissed a mule?" Said that city slicker fella looked down at him and said, "No, sir, but I've always wanted to." "Oh, Lord," said, "No, sir, but I have always wanted to." Rodney Dunaway, you can send me that Jerry Clower autograph. I'll pin that right up on my wall of collectibles. Because there ain't no such thing as getting another one. Yeah, I had one of them owl head pistols, what he called it. Oh, Lord, Lord. Uncle Versa was something else now. Hey. Talking about dogs there, David Rush said the dog would get fat if you feed them too much, said they. Uncle Versa sent one of the young Ledbetters, I think it was one of the grand young'uns, and I can't remember the name of which one he sent. Said they sent him off to college up there to, I think, sent him to Ole Miss. Said he rode the Panama Limited train up there. Went to college. And said he got to liking buying them hot dogs and stuff and spending a little money. And said he went through all of the money Uncle Versa had sent him. Said he got to thinking about it, and he said, I'm done run out of money, done spent all Papa's money he give me, and said, I got to come up with a way to get some more money. Said he got to deliberating on it, and he said, you know what? Said he wrote a letter to Uncle Versa. Said, "Papa," said, "there is a fella up here that can teach old Highball to read." He said, "If you'll send some old Highball up here and send however much money it was he wanted," said, "if you'll send him up here," said they'll teach him to read." Said, man, Uncle Versa got excited. Said they put Highball on the train, put the money in the envelope, sent it all up there. Said, boy, he got to spending that money, going out, doing some stuff. Said he spent all of that money up. Said he had Highball up there taking care of him. And said he got to think about it, and he said he wrote Uncle Versa a letter back. Said, "Uncle Versa," or said, "Papa," said there's another professor up here, said that he'd teach old Highball to say a few words if you'll send some more money up here. I got excited and sent him another envelope full of money up there. And on the way home from school, said he was riding on that train. Highball was sitting there beside him. Said he didn't know what in the world he was going to do. Said he knew he couldn't take Highball home. Said he was going to... Said they stopped there somewhere and said he put old Highball off the train, you know. Didn't want to hurt him, but said he put him off, give him to somebody, whatever. It may have not have been Highball. May have been one of them other dogs. But anyway, the old dog he had. Said he got home and got off the train. Said they was all standing around, a whole bunch of them waiting around for him to get off the train. Said he'd come home. Said Uncle Versa done told everybody in the whole town, said y'all gather around, said when it comes in, said the dog's gonna get off your train, said he's gonna read and talk to you. Said the train pulled up, everybody got off, said young'un wasn't there. They got to looking around. Uncle Versa found him standing way off up there by himself. Uncle Versa run up there to him and said, son, where's the dog at? Said, everybody's waiting there. He said, Papa. He said, I didn't have the heart to get off there in front of everybody and tell you. Said we was on that train coming home, and said, old dog was sitting there reading the newspaper. Said he looked over at me and said, I can't wait to get home to your mama and tell her what I saw your papa and the maid doing one time. He said, and it just made me so mad, Papa, that dog would lie on you like that. He said, before I knew it, I'd done throwed him off that train. He said, killed him. Said he was bouncing down the tracks. Uncle Versa looked at him and said, son, are you sure that lying dog's dead? Oh, I probably butchered that up a little while. I ain't heard that one in a long time, y'all. It's been a long time since I heard that one. Sound like something Eugene would have done, but I want to think it was one of Eugene's young'uns, grand-young'un or something. I don't remember anyway. I think I heard that one time. Sean Deaver, how you doing, bud? Seen you cooking and a couple of videos. Y'all, he been doing all kind of stuff. Y'all have to go check out his channel there. Deaver Vision. Roscoe's over here and biting, and the mosquitoes eating you up, son. We got a bunch of stuff flying around, but I don't think it's mosquitoes. I think we got mostly some kind of candle flies or gnats or something. I don't know. See, I don't know what that thing right there is. But the iPad is on 13%. It might make it to 10 o'clock. I don't know. Lord, Lord, Lord. I am full. My belly's full. I ain't had no ice cream in a week, y'all. I may have me a bowl of ice cream tonight. Me and old Brody will share it. I'll be honest with y'all, I really am. I'm fixing to have to get on some exercise and lose some of this weight off of me. And the reason is I'm afraid is I'm gaining weight. Michelle's been doing some extra baking, and I know y'all think it's them cat head biscuits, but we have them biscuits probably about once a week. And I ain't had none this week. But we don't eat a lot of them biscuits. But she got the baking for folks and started making cinnamon rolls. I mean them big old thick cinnamon rolls. You bite off into one of them things, man, your tongue just come out and wrap around your head. It's so good. So I'm having to try to watch my weight now. I figure I need to get this weight off of me. I don't reckon I have ever been this big, and I ain't weighed to see what I weigh. I used to be skinny as a rail coming through high school. Like me and fella was talking about, he said used to be so skinny had to run around in the shower to get wet. Well, I don't have that problem no more. So I have got to start watching some of what we eat. So the ice cream will be a treat. I am cutting back on stuff. Now, y'all, when I start saying I'm going to go on a diet, do a little extra exercise, we're not talking about like torturing ourselves and get on no rigorous, we're probably gonna cut back on the sweet tea, which right now I drink some fruit juice, which has sugar in it, but it's a little healthier than soda pop. So I hadn't bought no Cokes in a while. And I call everything a Coke, soda drink, whatever you want to call it. Jerry Clower said them knee-high belly washers, them soda waters. But cranberry and grape juice, what we like drinking, and I drink a good bit of orange juice, but I like water. I don't have no problem drinking a lot of water, so I'm probably gonna go on a good strict, probably water diet for a while, and try to get some of this weight off of me. And then one thing is I just try to cut down on how much I eat. And what I'll do is I'll eat a decent breakfast, not a lot, just enough breakfast that I ain't hungry, and then not eat nothing for dinner, and then eat supper. With that, I can get my weight back under control in a month or so, I feel like. But anyway, Larry Alexander, good night. Glad you hung out with us for a while. Appalachian Explorers, we done cooked hog ribs and deer ribs tonight and eat them. Brody has wore a hammock slam out him. Roscoe's full of bones that they probably, Peter's probably gonna call and give me fits about that. But we've had a good time. Yeah, Daniel T. There's some good Jerry Clower albums, and I've got every one of them that's on iTunes, and but some of the old good ones ain't on there, like Live from Mississippi Talking or Live from Yazoo City, and a couple of more. Live from Cleburne, Texas is a good one. You can't find that in hardly nowhere. I tell you, Live from Cleburne, Texas is on YouTube. I did find it on there. Now, it just shows the picture of the album cover the whole time, but you can listen to it. That is a good one. Of course, Dogs I Have Known is a good one. Chris, I still mix cranberry juice with pineapple juice. I don't put nothing else in it no more. Sort of like what they used to call a Tom Collins, I think. Mike, yeah, I listen to Wendy Bagwell. They ain't nothing better than hearing old Wendy Bagwell talk about going to get that little old Volkswagen. Said him and Ralph and D.A. went down there to get it. He said old Ralph said he was worried about the high price of gas. Said before it ever got high. Said he bought him one of them little German cars. Said we had to go down there to the ocean to get it. He said, because we ain't got no ocean in Smyrna, Georgia. He said, so we went down there to the ocean to get the thing. He said we had to ride a bus down there. He said, because they ship them over here on the ocean. He said, so we ain't none of us ever rode the bus before, so we all got there early. He said, so we could all get us a seat by the window. He said they stopped a time or two on the way over there to eat. Said, but we didn't get off and eat because said we were scared we'd lose our place. Oh Lord, they got all the way over there and said he said when they got that thing off the boat, said we pulled up here to buy it. Said they said, well, said you want us to show you anything about the little old car? And said Ralph, kind of a smart aleck. He said, no, said I can drive anything with wheels on it. He said, I looked at the little old thing, said didn't even look like we could all get in it. He said, but we did. Said got in there and fumbled around, said like to never got it cranked up. Said got it cranked up, said we like to never got it in gear. Said we finally got it in gear and got it going forward. Said we took off. And he said, got down and he said, well, we better stop and put some gas in it. And said D.A. said, yeah, said, we better, said it's getting cold. Said we better check that antifreeze too. So we started looking for a filling station. Said he wouldn't, said we got to looking at all them little old knobs and stuff on there and said there wasn't no words on nothing. Said they're just pictures. And said the little old pictures on that thing said you couldn't make them out. He said, so we pulled up to the filling station and said we couldn't figure out how to get the thing in reverse. Said we pulled up to a store, said first. We pulled up to the store first, said, because we was all about to starve to death. Said we hadn't eaten nothing all the way over there. And said, so we went in the store and got us a weenie. Said we come out and said Ralph said he shoved that thing up in the gear. Said we'd pulled right up to the curb. He said we couldn't get the thing in reverse, couldn't face. Said he'd get it. Said Ralph and said, all right, I think I got it now. Said back up on the curb, we'd go. Said he'd fumble around a little bit. Said, all right, now I got it. Said, boom, let off a clutch. Said back up on the curb. He said finally we got out and pushed the thing backwards. Got going, got down the street. Said we found a filling station down there. Said we pulled up there to get it filled up with gas, and said Ralph rolled the window down there and said, fill her up. Said the guy standing there and said, you pulled up too far. Said old Ralph hollered out the window, said, we'll be right back. And took off. Said there stood that guy with his hose in his hand. Said we went down the street, went down there, made the block, turned around, come back. Said Ralph pulled up, said, all right, now fill her up. He said, well, we better check that antifreeze, getting cold. And said he told the guy at the filling station, said, I want you to check antifreeze. And said that fella looked at him and said, what is this little thing you driving? Said Ralph soiled up, said he didn't even answer him, said he didn't want to say nothing. He said the fella walked around there and gonna check the antifreeze, popped the hood and hollered at Ralph, said there ain't even no motor up here. He said finally we looked around, we found the motor, said we still ain't found that radiator. Said, but anyway, said we got on that thing, said we was headed home, said we couldn't find a knob to turn the heater on. Said we fumbled around. Said there's some little knob right down there between the seats. And said old DA went to pull it. Said Ralph said, oh, don't pull that. Said the bottom liable to fall out. He said we went home in that thing, said we was froze from our nose to our toes. He said we pulled up at the house and said old Ralph, he was about ill. Said he walked in the house. Said his wife said, honey, take me for a spin. Said old Ralph mumbled something about being cold and went on in the house. It wasn't even hard to talk to her. Said she went out there and hopped in that car. Said she fumbled around about 2 or 3 minutes, backed that thing out the driveway, drove around the block. Said she'd come back about 15 minutes later and said, how come you didn't have a heater on? Oh, Lord, I know I butchered that too, but y'all, that is a good one now. Old Wendy Bagwell was a good one. He was probably right in there behind Jerry Clower, if I had to guess. He's one told about Wilbur Wingate's weenie. Said somebody filled it full of sand. Yeah, Michael Clinton, I tried that with that rope, and I couldn't get the guard to even hit the thing. Okay, we ain't fixing to be far behind you. It's 9:52. Do I add sweeteners in goldenrod tea or drink it as is? I drink it as is, but I have put honey in it before. It don't hurt to put honey in there. I mean, you can put sugar lumps in there if you want to. But I like the flavor of it, and I like to mix it. Occasionally, I'll mix half and half with mint or half and half with rabbit tobacco. The mint is good if you got indigestion, gas, anything like that. Mint's good for that. It's supposed to be good for headaches and several other things too. I probably need to redo a mint video right now. It won't be long time to do. I want to do a couple of other videos, but Chris, right now, we probably in the low 90s. We are in the daytime. Obviously, it's down probably it's about 75 or so right now. And it got hot last week before the rain, pretty hot there for a day or two. This year has not been bad. 2019 had the hottest year that we've had here. And I well know, because I was steel metal roofing then, I remember well how hot it was. So they was talking about last year about being the hottest year on record, and they full of crap. They don't have a clue what they talking about. But we've been fairly mild here this year. Usually middle of May, it starts warming up. By the 1st of June, we've done hit high temperature. We've not hit 100. We might have hit 100 last week, one day or two. I don't remember. We got close. But this year's not been bad so far. Now, that can drastically change. And I hadn't pulled the weather up to see what it's getting to, so it sounds like, from what I've heard tonight, that y'all are having some of the hotter weather further north. So the deal with temperature is not the killer here. I can deal with hot weather. I have been out in Texas, and you get out West Texas, well, really Central Texas, and it'll be a lot drier. And East Texas, far East Texas is still very humid because you got the Gulf. But when you get past where the Gulf is kind of angling up this way, the humidity get drier. Like when you get out past Dallas and on out in there where the Alamo and some of that stuff is, it can be 110 degrees and it won't be nothing like it is between the eastern part of Texas and Georgia and Florida. So the humidity is what kills us. So far this year, not been that bad yet. So when you couple the 95 and plus with 100% humidity, that's when you feel like you're dying out here. You're struggling to breathe and gasping for air, and you're soaking your clothes, and it takes 2 or 3 shirts to get through a day. And when it gets like that, I'm done with it. And I'll stand by this. If I ever get rich, if this channel ever takes off to where I'm just raking money in hand over fist, I don't think I ever got to worry about that happening. But if it does, I ain't going to slow down till I buy me a place somewhere around Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, somewhere out there in the edge of some mountains where I can enjoy some snow, trapping, hunting, hunt some elk, hunt whatever's out there. And then my plan will be to stay here till I get the garden in. Soon as I get done with the garden, I'm leaving and heading up there. And I'm going to stay up there till I've had all of the snow I can take. And when I'm sick of the snow, I'm going to head back down here. And you see, that'd be the ideal life. I mean, that's the best of every world right there. But obviously, it'd take a lot of money to do that. And when I say I want to be up there in the snow, I want to be where I can get in my workshop and make knives and make pottery and such. We're not talking about having to commute to work and work out in it. Now, I ain't near about talking about all that. I'm talking about living the life I live now, you know. Yeah, I don't even want to be out in the rain when I got to work. I remember trying to do metal roofing jobs and trying to make a living, and it come a rain, and man, the worst thing in the world, be on a job site with all that red mud and it muddy around. So I'm sure the snow's the same way. I don't, you know, but northeast coast in Canada, it was 96 plus humidity. You probably feeling some of what we feel then up there. It gets tough. When it gets like that, and see, now the next thing is we got air conditioning here. I don't know how in the world y'all making it. A lot of people up there ain't even got air conditioning, have they? I mean, I've always heard that a lot of places up north don't have air conditioning because they don't need it that much. I'd never live here without some air conditioning. But now, if we ever go to a no power situation, the lack of air conditioning is what's going to kill all of us. Good night, Randall Ross. What, buddy?
I want some jelly toast.
Okay, well, let me get through with this. I'm fixing to quit, and I'll fix you a toast.
In a minute.
In a minute, yeah. He likes that plum jelly we made on a piece of toast. Michelle bought one of them toasters you can just mash down. He can about make his own toast, but I hadn't given him the authority to go cooking his own toast. You just stick a bread in there and mash it down, and it does it. But I'd rather be in there when it does it. Yeah, and like Daniel, it's honest to God, right now it's not that bad. So what's going on with the weather, I don't know. I mean, weather patterns get wonky and crazy at times, and they say there's some tropical depressions or whatever in the Gulf. That could be affecting it a lot. I don't really know. And I figure after it rained the other day, it seems like we're steadily going back up in temperature every day. So I have not pulled the weather up to see what it is going to do. I could probably pull it up right quick. I like to use weather underground, and then I'll use my radar for, but I don't even think I've got the weather underground on this thing. No, I do not. So it ain't on here. Chris, I have literally been up there where you'd throw a bottle of water up to us, pour it down you, and I mean, from the time you pull the top off, turn it up, and then water the bottle up, throw it on the ground. Of course, whoever was on the ground would pick stuff up, put it in the garbage, or either we would clean up when we leave. But anyway, you'd throw it off the roof, and it'd just be dripping off of you. You'd have to watch where you step from the sweat. It'd be dripping off your elbows, just drip, 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 drip. And it's miserable. Shirts just stuck to you, and we talking at 7:30 in the morning. So yeah, that metal roofing and stuff, that's a young man's deal. The last year that I did it, I had 4 different heat spells. Now, I didn't have complete heat stroke like where I just slam out and come to after a while, but I got so dizzy and quit sweating and got the chills and all that stuff, and it greatly affected my body. I mean, I'd have to go lay down in the grass, be like, to collect my bearings and get straight. And every time that happens to you, then all of a sudden you can't tolerate the heat as good as you could before. It affects your body permanently. So the last year I worked metal roofing, that happened to me 4 times. And I told my uncle that I was working for, I was like, this is my last year doing it. I can't physically do this anymore. I won't live if I do. And I had to get away from it. So me being able to come back here and do pottery and film YouTube videos, and I make a little off the YouTube videos, you can't nearby make a living off of it. Not at the level I'm doing it. But I can make a few knives when the pottery gets slow, and then we can pay our bills to pottery. But now the blessing that I have is everything I own's paid for. House, land, buggy, everything's paid for except for the white Armada. We owe about 1.5 years on it, and it'll be paid for. Now, when it gets paid for, I can kind of breathe, but at that point, it'll probably be time for me to buy a new buggy. I can't see mine. That Polaris ain't gonna make it that long, and I'm probably gonna buy me a Kubota. Either a Honda or a Kubota. But the Kubotas, my daddy's got one, solid as a rock. My only problem is his is slow. Now, the newer gas ones has got a lot more faster. 40 miles an hour is all I need. But now his is like 20 is all it'll do. And it'd take me way too long to get to the swamp and get back. And I don't like going 20 miles an hour down paved road to get over. It ain't about 2 or 3 miles, but. So anyway, being able to do that has allowed me to be at home and take it easy, and you just don't buy stuff, Everybody else, every time they see they want live scope or a new boat or a brand new rifle or buy everything. When I see something I want, I go, can I make that? But anyway, I've learned to want what I already have and enjoy life. I don't need a bunch of new flashy stuff, so it don't cost me a lot to live. And I get enough new stuff to make me happy, but cheap stuff satisfies me pretty well. So anyway, we fixing to get off of here, y'all. Jennifer, you talking about the Kubotas? I don't mind pouring some oil in something. My problem is like mine, the front end won't stay in that Polaris. And it'll be like broke down and leave you stranded somewhere. And it's constantly that. So more than likely this year over in the fall, before it gets bad, I'll probably pull everything out of it and replace the front axles and check that and replace that front joint and yoke that I have to replace on a regular basis. And then I'll check the other bushings, and I have got the back bushings for the arm, but the back end has not been a problem. I've not had to change rear bearings. I've not had to change rear bushings. The front end has been all the problem. So, anyway, whichever thing that you buy that's mechanical can have problems and failures, and they can be a lemon in all of them. I understand that. I mean, that's like the Ford, Chevrolet, Dodge guys that give each other crap, but any of them can be a piece of junk if you ain't careful. But Polaris, my deal with Polaris is everybody I know has had the same problems with all of them. I don't know of anybody that has put very many miles on one and it ain't falling all to pieces. So, and the Hondas and the Kubotas are holding up to that. Now, my daddy has had problems with his motor mounts on his Kubota, and the muffler has come loose. But now, we wailed and can fix minor stuff. But anyway, we are fixing to get off of here. I got to go make Brody some toast, y'all. I want y'all to know I enjoy doing these lives, and I appreciate every one of you that sat here, especially that have sat here for 3 hours and listen to me yap and talk and carry on and butcher Wendy Bagwell jokes. I know I didn't tell that just like old Wendy Bagwell did. I can't do old Wendy Bagwell justice. If you really want to hear that Volkswagen tale told good, go let Wendy Bagwell tell it to you. That is Aunt's bike, man. I thought it was a flea. I done got worried there for a second. But me and Roscoe's fixing to go in and get an air conditioner. I got to fix Brody some toast. So thank y'all for hanging out with me tonight. Remember, the best way to do things is the way you like to do it. We'll see y'all. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.